Yes, family. How's it going? Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Press the one in the chat if you can hear if my sound's all good, if it's coming through okay. But yeah, no. Welcome again to another live stream. It's your boy Why It Matters, or Wim for short, if it makes your life easier. And I hope you all have been well since the last live stream on Thursday. It's it's been quite an eventful few days, if I'll be honest with you. It's been storms, earthquakes, depending where you are, people have been without power. I actually think a couple of lives have been lost actually as well. So definitely RIP to lives who've been lost. It's been quite an eventful few days. And obviously with that note, I just want to say RIP to Jamal Edwards, the legend who paved the way a lot for, I know, a lot of up and coming artists, grime artists, rap artists, basically for a lot of the UK industry was underrepresented at the time. So of course, he did the SBTV. I think it was in 2006. My man was, again, this, and the thing is, he died at 31, and he was around my age, and it really hits you even harder when that happened. So, still don't know exactly the cause of the death. It seems, I think it's something to do with heart problems. I don't know exactly all the ins and outs, but no, for definite, RIP, Jamal Edwards, and obviously prayers to the family and everything like that. So it's a very obviously hard time for anyone to lose their child, especially at that age. 31 is no age at all, and for sure it's something that when you talk about health, I mean, again, I don't know the reason why he died, so I can't really put two and two together about that. But yeah, for sure. But no, um, definitely been an eventful few days. But no, everyone can hear me in the chat. That's beautiful. I just want to say what's up to the chat before we continue on with the live stream. So Skittles man, welcome. Always loving it. Always loving it. Yep. Please make sure you get the likes up. Please make sure you like, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Edge, what's good? I think you might be new. Hope you subscribe. Fiona, evening. How's it going? Hope you're well. Vincent, all that good stuff. Hope everyone's well. So please make sure that you all are well and keeping safe out here. But right, tonight, the live stream. So we have another special guest following on from the same vein from last show when we had Brother Kale. And one of the things I like about these two guests and these two gentlemen, and the last one I'm going to bring up today, is they bring solutions and blueprints in order for us as a people to follow. And I do like that. We talk a lot about what we do wrong, but not enough about what we can do to correct those wrongs. So, for all those who don't know, the guest Raven, he hails from Speaker's Corner, and I actually first saw him on the YouTube channel called Content Over Everything, and he has his own channel. So please make sure, mods, could you please make sure that you, from time to time, could you just put his link in the chat? It's in the description box. I'm just going to put it up right now just to make sure that it is there. But if you can please make sure, for future reference, that you put Raven's channel in the chat. His channel goes by name of Black Betterment Building. So yeah, please make sure from time to time that you do that. And he frequently uses the slogan. I've been on a few of his lives and obviously had some conversation with the brother before, since, and he frequently uses the phrase, "Black people are collectively inadequate." Hence the title of this live stream. Again, I'm going to bring up this brother right now. So without further ado, let's bring up Brother Raven right now. Raven, can you hear me? How are you today, bro?
Unmute. There you go. How's it going, brother? Working. Excellent.
Awesome.
Wow. All right. Thanks for having me, family.
No worries. Hope everything's good on your side. Hope you're keeping well. So it's a pleasure to have you. So for sure, I'm definitely going to do less talking and more listening. And I'm hoping, and I know for a fact that a lot of the viewers here, some who's not as used to yourself, that for definite that they will it'll be really good. So absolutely. So let's get the ball rolling, shall we? So title of the live stream is Black People Are Collectively Inadequate. So let's start off with that one right there and ask, or say, why do you say that particular phrase or slogan? What's the meaning behind it?
So basically what it is like many brothers and sisters in the community, you grow up and you realize there's many challenges, and then naturally you're going to want to try to solve them, but challenge begets more challenge, and then you start realizing that of course there are systems in place that make achieving stuff more challenging, but also attitudes towards them and how we react to them. So one of the strategies I push forward is when we look at unfortunately drug addicts and alcoholics and this kind of stuff. One of the first things they have to do when they try to actually fix the problem of being a drunkard or an alcoholic or a person with some kind of challenge is admitting what it is. And they might say, "Hi, my name's Jim and I'm an alcoholic." And then by doing that, by saying that out loud and accepting within, it pushed them on the path for actually trying to find solutions and sticking to certain kind of plans. So I think with the strategy I'm pushing is by acknowledging the shortcomings and acknowledging where Black people collectively are in society. And by acknowledging that and saying out loud, it allows us when we try to find solutions to get less pushback. And that's it in a nutshell, really.
No. That's really good. And I suppose because I suppose there's not really too much of an argument because when you say it like that, and I'm assuming you mean across pretty much all spectrums, so it would be what financially, spiritually, mentally, physically. Is that right to assume as well?
Ill areas of people activity, as far as I can see, Black people are collectively. Now we have to understand. I don't know. It might be helpful if you actually push. I've got the PDF. I don't know if that might help.
Let me.
Might,
right, so I don't know if you can control it.
I control it.
Nice.
Excellent. So for those who can see, voila. All right. So let's go backwards. So after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. So every time I start my shows or do any kind of speeches or whatever it is, this is what I say. All right. So when it comes to working as a group as a whole, there's a challenge. Now, obviously, self-esteem usually affects Black people quite tremendously. So what I tend to say is I give analogies saying things like, well, imagine that if you imagine that Black people are like the best football players of all time individually, right? Amazing. So you can, if you name every single great Black football player and you put them on one team, you're going to have an amazing team. And let's call that team Black United, and let's put them in the Premier League, right? The only issue is if every single one of those Black players didn't like each other, didn't actually want to pass the ball or talk to each other, or the goalkeeper's trying to talk to someone in the stadium, the defenders are trying to score goals up front, the managers left the stadium completely, then obviously it doesn't matter how good individually the people are, the team's going to lose and get relegated. And that's the kind of symbolic analogy that I like to push when it comes to Black people working, as in like teamwork, very terrible, but individually quite amazing, to be honest. And this is what I'm trying to get across.
Awesome. There's a classic phrase that, you know, when I was growing up in the church, and my mom would say, teamwork makes the division work. Or so yeah, it's always the case. So.
Yeah. And I think this is the progress, the betterment of Black people is going to come from teamwork. It really is, and that's what we expose. Now, I mean, naturally, when I talk. I'm
just going to say, so this blueprint here, this is what you call, what would you call it? The Black Betterment Blueprint, what you have right in front of it, just so we can set it up. So this is more of a...
So basically, if I break down, that's in a nutshell. Let me skip right past this, right? So what is Black Betterment? Black Betterment is Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. So in a nutshell, Black Betterment is a lifestyle. So I'm preaching and teaching and promoting a lifestyle, a way of existing day to day, right? So through much of my research and the things I'm doing, for all the years I've put in, the conclusion is by pushing forward a lifestyle that people can, emulate, progress, and do, and this kind of stuff. This is one of the better solutions I can think of how to actually improve Black people. This is step one, but basically there's a lifestyle. So Black Betterment is a lifestyle. That's what it is. It's a lifestyle.
Awesome. I like that. And I suppose if you want to go through what that is, the lifestyle, because I suppose I don't want to jump what you're going to say to us, but so what is the lifestyle? How does it look like? How do you break it down in its parts?
So basically, what you're going to find, and people are going to get very, very bored of me using it, but I'm going to keep using it because it's a very good analogy to use, right? And that is, I want people to imagine Black Betterment like you imagine veganism. So veganism is a lifestyle. It's a choice that humans make because they want to essentially not harm any animals anymore. And they try to think of a way of existing that minimizes completely or just eradicates harming animals in all forms of interactions, whether it's eating, wearing clothing, the land the animals live on. They generally want to minimize that to the maximum as much as humanly possible. So that's a lifestyle. And it means that everything in their life has to change to make that a reality, right? Well, Black Betterment is the same. Black people recognize we're collectively inadequate and we have to fix. We're thinking, how do we do things, that benefit Black people? Now, the most important thing here is what a lot of people miss. When you read this, it says Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. Because one of the strategies we have is many times Black people tend to look outside the community for solutions, but we'll get there later on. But that's by keeping the lifestyle inwards. As long as you're doing that, you are practicing lifestyle. If you're not doing that, it's something else.
No, that's what's up. So, I do like how you've got the BBs all bold. So it's basically it's all about what we as a people should be doing in order to again help Black people. Now, would you say that other groups do this instinctively? Because obviously this is a
innately.
Innately. You taught me about how is it?
Because
they do it innately or we don't. Is there something? I'm assuming is this part of the we're inadequate, but is that a fundamental?
It is part of it, but like I said, most things Black people are not fully to blame. And what you got to understand is when you look at the history and the research, the people who've been identified as Black, those kind of people have been trained historically to be subservient, and also been looked down and victimized for many, many years. So because of that natural, not natural, it's not natural at all really, but because of that behavior from non-Black people towards Black people, that is a contributing factor to why you have to actually say it's okay, Black person, to help yourself. Because as you'll notice, Black people have been trained to do for others before they do for themselves, and we can unpack that as time goes by in this one-on-one we have, or collective talk, I should say.
No. I mean, again, I've said this so many times beforehand, and I'll say it again. There's a stat that said that 95% of our finances, go outside of our community.
Oh yes,
build up a lot of other people. But again, when it comes to our own people, it's like, oh my days, it's like a struggle. Even some of these, and we'll get into it now, but I bet some of these solutions or blueprints or codes that you've brought forth, I bet a lot of people who look like you, sign like us, have the probably biggest gripes and groans about it. So, but yeah, we'll definitely unpick that as it goes on, though.
Of course, yeah.
So, in terms of this lifestyle, then I suppose how does one go about being in this lifestyle? Is it a simple case of from now I'm just going to help Black people? Is there differentials? I know we've talked about this beforehand, but just for my audience, is there a criteria for one to be a part of this, or things that we have to follow?
Yeah. So basically, it's if I get real deep into it. So basically, let's before I even move on, one thing that isn't part of the lifestyle directly, this will be part of a future code that I'm introducing for a future group, but I use across the board. And that is, I integrate the 4D values. Whenever I'm working with Black people, I have these 4 key pillars that I must always try to maintain when I'm working for the betterment of Black people. And that's discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment, right? And as I talk to you and all the other brothers and sisters who jump on throughout my works, I try to maintain these when I'm actually practicing Black betterment, right? And this allows things to flow more smoothly. So, but that isn't necessarily part of Black betterment, but it's something I recommend. It's a value system that I use. Now,
but funny enough, though, I know it's not part of your Black betterment, but I don't want to. That is probably some of the key points that I was gonna touch on this in regards to, as a people, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing? And this is definitely some of the 4 key points of 4Ds that you've got down here, which is very, very, very key. Because I don't know about you, but when it comes to discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment, a lot of these things we are missing as a people.
Of course.
So I do like that you've got these codes down here, which doesn't obviously have to be part of Black betterment. I think this is just a life value system.
But because I've been studying for a long time, this will be implemented, but it'll be implemented on something else. But this is what anyone can use, any Black person can use. But when I get to the end of this, when I talk about what I'm going to introduce, then this will fits better with that, because with a lifestyle, it's a bit more free flowing because people can achieve certain things by doing other things. But this is just something. This is a value system that I use, the 4Ds, that helps me help Black people. But it is definitely part of Black betterment in the sense of it's come from the same person who's preaching or whatever it is. But people might do things the wrong way, but there are certain constants that have to be part of Black betterment, and we'll move on. Blah blah blah. So where are we? Lifestyle. Oh, we've done that one. Ignore all this kind of stuff. Let's leave it a nice picture. Anyway, so where were we?
So go through all of it if you want to, Rem. So basically, the floor is yours to go through all your pieces. I don't want to sort of.
Right.
If you've got a flow that you like to have, then by all means.
I hope I didn't delete. You know what? Like a funny guy, I might have deleted it. Let's just make sure I have it. So basically, it's the breakdown of the 2 things. There we go. I have it. Good man. All right. So basically, when it comes to Black betterment, right? There's 2 divisions that I talk about. There's the Black betterer and the Black betterment builder. All right. So basically, I'll read it out here, right? A Black betterer is a Black person who's practicing a lifestyle choice involving dedication to enhancing the livelihood of Black people, specifically locally and globally, in all areas of people activity whenever it's constructively possible. So that means if, as a black person, if I decide to practice black betterment in all entities and whenever it's constructively possible, I'm trying to benefit black people in many ways as possible. That process, people will know me as a black betterer. It's like, oh, he's just like you look at a vegan. Oh, he's a vegan. He's a vegan. They'll look at that person. Oh, he's a black betterer. That's his lifestyle. Yeah. So we understand. So the idea is, I as a black bearer and someone else as a black bearer can come together and we pretty much understand what we're trying to do. There's no trying to convince them because it makes sense, right? We're trying to help black people in all areas of activity whenever it's constructively possible. Now, the next step, the next variant, which is slightly different, is a black betterment builder. Now, what black betterment builder is a black person practicing a lifestyle choice involving dedication to enhancing the lives of black people, specifically locally and globally in one or more areas of people activity. What does that mean? It means that there's a black person who, he doesn't necessarily want to do certain things that is dedicated to black people, but he might want to do one major thing or two major things. Like he might want to start a junior black only children's football team or a black girls teaching how to make programming, IT or something like this, right? But it's dedicated to black people. So in that actual area, he is a black betterment builder. He's not a black betterer because he might do other things that's not really dedicated to black people. But in that area, in one or two areas, he does, and he does that consistently in that area. So these are the two divisions of types of black betterers or black betterment builders that exist in the lifestyle of black betterment. And that's it. It's that simple.
Nice. And what are some of the different lifestyles that will determine whether you're a black betterer or a black betterment builder? Right. They're very similar, but I'm assuming, is it just based on lifestyle choice, or is it just based on, I just don't want to become one. I just want to be a builder. I want to be, one of those allies, like here or there. Is there a fundamental difference?
Let me break down the science of it. So basically, what I realized with all the pro-black and the B1, all the community, a lot of that is a small percentage of black people preaching to black people, which is good. But unfortunately, there's some remarkable members in the community who I can't be a part of because they might have a certain way of being or existing that doesn't really correlate well with pro-blackness in where, however you define that, right? So what I've done is I've tried to make it as easy as possible for us to have experts and for those who have people who want to specialize in one or two things, right? But still recognize that the most important thing here, because it's very important, is that black person is admitting to themselves and the community that they're doing something for black people. This might sound very shocking, but this is one of the biggest challenges black people can ever do, is admitting trying to devise something that is for black people, because we suffer from kumbayarism, and this is through learning because we've been trained to be subservient. But black betterment is the unraveling and curing of that mindset to realize that it's okay for people who are suffering to fix their ills. This is the learning. So that's what it is.
No, I like that. And it's very true what you said there about we seem to have a bit of a aversion to admitting that we're going to help our own people at times. I know it came a little bit cool over the last couple of years, and that's what it seemed to be, a bit of a phase, obviously with BLM and whatnot. But as a whole, it just seems to be quiet. There was a question I was going to ask you actually. Can you be? It's like an oxymoron, but can you be somebody whose lifestyle is pretty much against what you're preaching, but they still help us in the same vein? Let me give you an example. I won't use any names, but rappers and drill artists, their lifestyle, and you think the things that they preach from a day to day is probably diametrically opposed to what you're trying to do in terms of your value system. However, they can build schools for black people. They can do this. How do we tackle things like that?
Right. So in the activity of doing that one good thing, they could be, say, a black betterment builder. So there'll be MC Squiggly Wiggly is a black betterment builder in making schools for children, whatever it might be, black children, right? Yeah. But also something that I haven't shown you guys yet, which is very important as well. At least I can find it. Is where are we? Here we go. One thing that I push as well is this is another diagram that I want people to learn, and that is the two words is error prone and high principled, right? And the idea is whenever we're trying to do anything, we want to be as high principled as possible. All right. So those brothers who might be rapping, if you want to bring them up, they might be performing error proneness in what they're saying, what they're doing. And we want to make sure that in everything else or everything they are doing, they're trying to be high principled.
Now, let me just say this because I hear what you're saying, and there's always levels to this. But for me, someone of that industry and the other ones as well, their error proneness is to the highest degree, -5, in my opinion, just because of the destructive influence that they have. Yeah. And I don't know if you can quantify this, and this could be a question I open for the panel and whatnot, but is it a situation where no matter how many schools you build, it's not going to distract the fact that people are killing each other because you're trying to emulate the life of such and such? It's not going to distract the fact that they're calling each other all these derogatory names because of such and such. It doesn't detract the fact that the culture of the people has gone down to a situation because of, or I'm not going to use any one name, but because of the culture that's breeding, these are the face of that. Is it a situation where I have to say to them, look, we can't even have these people as builders because your lifestyle is so detrimental to us as a people. We can't have that at all. Is there any codes like that, or I don't know what your thoughts are, or do we at this stage, is it a case of at this stage we just accept it as you're helping us, we take the win?
Yeah, well, it's like we've got two divisions there. We've got the betterers and the builders, right? The betterers is like, that kind of behavior can't go on if you're considered better, right? You can't go around causing harm to black people openly, right? That's what it is. The builder is literally isolated incidents. There's isolated things they do. So because the idea is not everyone has that kind of the mental strength or the history or the upbringing where they can be straight into every single thing they do high principle. But what we can do is, one of the fears I have is you come with such a high righteousness that you push everyone away. So yes, we have to have the areas where the people who can actually practice that are alone to practice that. But we have to also have that kind of like immediate level, entry level kind of way of doing things, and hopefully, through a certain amount of behavior, a certain amount of things that's been achieved, they become more high principled in other areas, as well as black betters being around them, helping them see the errors in their ways. That's the idea.
No, I like that. I like that. And I do like how you phrase that in terms of sometimes a lot of high principle people in any walks of life where they become a little bit self-righteous. And I get it. I think you do have to say that's wrong. But yeah, it's all about how you not mistreat someone. Because I think you put something on there about mistreating people. I know you put it about other people, but even our own people, because it could, undermine progress. So do you want to talk to me through what do you mean by that? Sounds obvious, but it might be not so obvious for the people.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but usually when people jump on, when you see black people trying to be constructive, some people push forward that actually what they might be doing is mistreating non-black people in some area of activity. And what I say to black people is don't mistreat non-black people, because one, it's not nice, and two, it can be used to undermine black progress. If black people accept this kind of breakdown there, we will progress at a fast rate, because it's a solution to many obstacles that we will face when we try to be dedicated to black people, and that is either sabotage from within the camp or sabotage from without the camp.
No, I agree, and just I know you put something on the. I've seen it when you're scrolling through. There's certain words that you steer clear from, because I know your demeanor is very one of a it's calm approach. It's not very verbally aggressive as other people. So there it is. So what are the things which you would say, stay away from, and what we do like?
Yeah, so obviously before we start, we were talking about the 4D values, right? And dignity and discipline is very cool. And how that can manifest in the form of speaking is sometimes we might insult people using derogatory terms. And then the conversation is no longer about helping black people. It's how a person feels about those derogatory terms. So I'm saying, if possible, use descriptive language over derogatory language if possible, unless you're referencing something. Definitely do not refer to people as certain words if you're trying to find solutions. And I've just given some examples on the screen of replacement words. So obviously, age-old one is the N-word, as they call it. And I'm saying, if you want to refer to a person outside the name who is a black person, maybe friend, queen, king, family might be a better replacement
word to use. I love that. Instead of saying N-word, king, queen. No, I like that. And funny enough, on that, sorry to cut in, but that kind of changes words have meaning and they have a lot of power, even though people try and say, words are just words. I hear so many people say that. I'm like, I know it's wrong, but it's a lie, sorry. But words, when you do, it has a powerful meaning that people just switching up one word can change your whole mindset and their whole mood of everything. So it's good. It's good.
There you go.
Now, when it comes to these sort of tenants and whatnot, are there what we like to call custodians of this, in which, because like most things, they evolve over time. Now, is this something which is likely to evolve based on maybe the generation, or are these sort of fundamental blueprints which, by all accounts, should be set in stone? Pretty much like, let's use the 10 Commandments, for example.
Yeah. So I mean, what the thing is, what I try to make just like you see, like if there's a dance, there'll be a new dance in Africa or Jamaica or America, wherever it might be, and before you know it, that dance has spread all over the black world, and then obviously they'll spread it to the non-black world as well. They'll probably end up owning it to an certain extent, but generally it spreads very wide. And that's the kind of concept I'm dealing with. Where when I come up with ideas and concepts, it's like the idea is to make constructive ways of being very addictive that can spread amongst black people, and people can just practice it. So Black Betterment, the idea, the way I'm writing, the way I'm doing it is people can see it, it can make sense, they can talk to their friends about it very easily, and they can practice it. But essentially, the lifestyle Black Betterment, ultimately, one of the next steps from it that not everyone has to practice is something I'm pushing in called the Black Custodians. Now, I'm refining that in my show as weeks go by. And basically, in a nutshell, what that is who do black people want to represent black people? Meaning, we have a lot of complaints that goes on that when some people are seen on TV and the media, they might not necessarily represent the interests of the collective, right? And that what we can say is we can actually have a set of principles of things that we deem as a community to be important to talk about. And anyone who goes on TV has to be known as a black custodian. They've ticked all these boxes. They've got these kind of qualifications, and they can represent black people when it comes to media and this kind of stuff. But this is obviously a caveat in the sense of a side note. If you are a black betterer or you are a black custodian, right, ultimately you're going to realize that the real goal is to control your own media and to come together with other black people and form your own kind of institutions so that you actually are automatically creating different narratives, or you're talking directly about what you need. And that's something, when it comes to being collectively inadequate, that also might be an issue there, where a lot of us are waiting to tell other institutions what we want rather than doing ourselves.
No, that's a very good point. And let me touch on that and ask a couple of questions, because you're right. We do seem to be, we're people who beg. We have our hand out open, asking, please sir, and we know who that sir is. And to be fair though, there's a lot of, when we first came here to this country, we had to do a lot of these things because we were forced to. Maybe the problem now is because we're not forced to do things for ourselves in the same manner, it's a bit different. So I mean, like the Voice newspaper, that's the classic old publication, which I don't know if the readers, depending on how old you are, if you still know about the Voice newspaper, but I remember getting that paper in print when I was younger. That's still around online, most likely. There's also a publication called Pitch Black. So I'll definitely recommend viewers, because these are publications owned by black people, targeted for us, and it has a completely different narrative, which celebrates a lot of our good things, successes, and also talks about what we're doing as well, which is very, very, very good. So no, it's very true. So let's get into some of the nitty gritties. Let's get into it, because actually, before I do you have any other sort of tenets or any sort of frameworks that you wanted to bring out at all, or
as we talk, I'm sure people yourself will ask certain things. I could just skip to certain things to make answering it much more easier, because there's quite a lot. So it's quite I put like the basic, straightforward, simple stuff, but there are some more extreme stuff that will come out, I suspect, when people start asking questions.
Oh yeah, 100%. And let's get into it right now. So you mentioned one time that we need our custodians, or people who are black betterers, pretty much to represent us on the main stage when it comes to talking about our issues. Now, What does that look like? Can a guy like, I don't know, our footballers be those types of people? Can our athletes be those types of people? What about someone like our politicians? Because that's a classic example. I'm going to use it, David Lammy, Diane Abbott. Who are these people who we should be allowing? Because a lot of people are speaking on our behalf, but the question is, who fits the bill? John Barnes is someone who's classically on the news as someone speaking on behalf of black folk. He gets the rider. Who is these people? What are the people who we can allow and we can't allow?
Right. So these are the brothers here. So these are all the brothers I got information on in the UK, because we're based in the UK at the moment, right? So these are all the black, mixed black, as they might call them, mixed interracial or something, people, kind of, right? So the thing you have to ask is, sometimes, we don't know what's in how a person thinks, but we can see what the policies and how they talk and how they choose to interact and stuff, right? And I think there has been a consistent complaint that many black politicians don't either do things for black people, or it's like it's not the primary, it might be the tertiary or whatever, right? Or the secondary, if anything. And so what I say is there should be a certain amount of principles and lifestyles that already put you in a certain, like, okay, good favor, right? Now, what we know is here of the pattern. This is a pattern perception. This is something that I try to do when I look at black people, because if you talk to black people individually, they'll tell you one story, but actually the pattern tells you more. And one of the patterns I've noticed here is every single one of our politicians is married to a blonde-haired woman or a man, because one of them is the same gender-loving individual.
Oh, they're all blonde. I didn't even realize that.
Blonde, blue eyes, blonde or blue eyes. There might be one that's not blonde. I don't know if this lady's blonde. If she's still the first, this might be second wife. I'm not too sure. But a lot of them have actually been married twice, and obviously the first wife would have been European as well. So this is like a pattern I've seen, right? And this is a pattern that something that we have to be aware of. So in order to get around this, one of the rule sets is if you're going to be a black betterer or a black custodian, if you get married, if you're lucky enough to get married and find a woman, you will be married someone within the group. This is one of the qualifications to have. Like if you get married, you're marrying, because this is a perception that is easily marketable, and it's hard to really spin. Naturally, of course, you have to be a high principled. Even though you marry a black woman, beating her up or stealing or all this kind of stuff is unacceptable. But generally, as an entry level kind of thing, if you're getting married, you're gonna have to marry someone within the community if you want to be perceived as someone who's here to help the community.
Now, very interesting pattern and very powerful. Do you know when you got the image on screen like that? Very powerful. There's a couple of things here. So I know you mentioned that there are black betterers, and I suppose they're the ones who front the movement, but you have the builders. Now, I'm assuming, could these gentlemen here, I'm assuming they could fall into the builders, because if they wanted to help something for black people, they could
be a builder in one area. So for example, what's his brother's name? Darren Henry. He might, work for the Conservatives, and he does whatever they want him to do every day. But he actually has created a ice hockey rink that's just for black boys. It's just for black boys for some reason, and he teaches black boys how to ice skate for some reason, right? And it's just for black boys, and he's shown the world that I'm going to be dedicated to one area just for black people. He can be considered a builder in that one area. So for example, if there's a news report and we go, we want to talk about ice skating for black people, he qualifies to go on there, because that's what he does, right? But if it comes to talking about the value of black love or economics or how to help black people deal with whatever it might be, he might not be best qualified, because he hasn't confessed he's a betterer, he's not a black custodian, and his lifestyle isn't actually showing us anything that correlates with black people at all.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair. And I suppose with that, because we have to be realistic, we don't own majority of the media outlets, and at the end of the day, they're media outlets which won't necessarily serve in our best interest. So if people who do not follow the betterment builders or whichever's codes or strategy, and they are talking on behalf of black people because they want to get their opinion, I see a lot of them. What is our strategy? What is the strategy to make it be known? Do we make it be known? How do we play in that regard?
Yeah. So we've really got the languages. So this is why language is important. So for example, you'll be on some tea lunch debate, or you might be on some, yeah. You'll be there, and someone will say, "Oh man, what are you talking about, Jim? What's his name? Darren Henry was on TV talking about whatever he's talking about," and you just go, "Well, he's not a black custodian, so he doesn't really speak for me." That done. Like no more needs to be said, and then people understand. Oh, you see, black people, they actually want the grassroots wants to actually elect the people who represent them, and they want them to be held accountable, and they want them to do specific actions dedicated to black people for the betterment of the collective. Okay, there you go. And by everyone knowing this, then it's like you limit where people can actually move.
Okay, no, I hear you. And the thing is, and this is the sort of the other side of it, where I've heard a lot of this especially if you're a black conservative. Black people, this is where the monolithic viewpoint, which is a bit of a lie, but I don't want to get into it too much. But I can have a different viewpoint. I can have a different and still be black. So I can already hear it right now where people say, again, you call it, I don't know if it's excuses you will call it as, but they would use it as a way of saying, just because my lifestyle is this doesn't mean I can't speak for us. I'm still black. I'm still that. You see what I mean? There's always that kind of rhetoric I've heard frequently, in which has been
they're right. They're right. They could work as well. The first thing you say is black people are not a monolith, right? So they can be black. They can be anything they want to be. That's fine. Yeah. But the thing is, they're not synchronized with Black Betterment, which is a lifestyle of black people helping black people with black issues. So once again, you have people who eat food and people who are vegans, in it. And once that person starts eating cows, they can't be a vegan. So Black Betterment is black people helping black people on black issues. If you're not dedicated to doing that and confessing that, then you're unsynchronized with it. So you're a black person. Okay, that's great. Well done.
No, it's just, I hear you. Just, this term gets used, pro-black. I know, obviously. Actually, let me ask you this question: Is this how would you fit this movement in with like Pan-Africanism, pro-black? Would you consider this movement a Pan-Africanist movement? How would you consider this movement or lifestyle?
So for me, any lifestyle, religion, way of being, scripture, whatever it might be, that makes black people take accountability for black actions and looks after black people is within the framework of Black Betterment. So Black Betterment might be like a massive kind of lifestyle that is inclusive of all this kind of stuff, right? But the only difference is it's actually declaring it much more clearly now. This is what it's actually about. If you're a person and regardless of what you call yourself, if you are in fact helping black people progress and you're dedicated to that, then I support you. I technically am a Pan-Africanist. I'm happy to be Pan-Africanist because black people are African, and helping black people is a good thing, right? So I can be a black bearer and a Pan-Africanist. I can call myself a blackamoor. I can do whatever I want as long as I'm helping black people. Sometimes what we do, and I understand the reason behind it, we spend a long time with names and this kind of stuff, but ultimately black people are not being helped. So that's why black people helping black people on black issues, that's what I'm doing. And if you want to call it Pan-Africanism, you call it what you want. I mean, yeah. I mean, what you'll notice here as well, you see this very important. I've highlighted here. You see this little star?
Asterisk, yeah.
This star, this asterisk, it's a star asterisk, right? But this is actually meaning that when someone goes, but what about the word black? Are we not African? Then I go, okay, when you see that star, it's African betterment or African advancement, right? I've got literally a whole list. I mean, I can read them if I can find them. Hold on.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, because funny enough, that word has been a bone of contention of late.
Great, yeah.
I don't call black on me all this, and then I hear people, David Lamb talk about I should be called English and all this kind of other stuff. And it's
that's off code as well. What he was doing there, because you see the brother. Let me not talk about the brother. Let me do what he's doing. But either way, so basically, this star could represent Black Betterment, Black or more Betterment, African advancement, Aboriginal advancement, Akubalan advancement. I've said that wrong. Yeah, Ethiopian advancement. That's Ethiopia with an A, which represents the whole Africa. Israelite improvement, Indigenous improvement, colored correction, a Negro nutriment. African advancement, whatever, right? I'll put it in my next design as well. So that star is a magic star, and that magic star means all those things. Because what I have to realize is I have to help black people get through the basics, because sometimes talking is more valuable than the doing to some black people. So this star reverses that. It makes the doing more important than talking.
No, I like that because again, we people get caught up in the, what do we call it, the minutiae, the little details to try and take you off the bigger details. So I do like that. Now, there's a couple of things in chat I just wanted to get to, and one of the things was about what about Sophia, about biracial people, mixed people like Akala. I mean, how would they be classified under this sort of framework at all? Because again, he regularly speaks on our issues from a historical standpoint and that kind of standpoint. How do you view people like that? Because again, obviously, like we can't control how we come out, he can't control how we came out.
No, of course not. So historically, mulattoes, as they were called, biracial and this kind of stuff, were always, or Negroes, they were also seen as Negroes in many different places, were included within the black law viewpoint, and they also share black African ancestry. So by definition, by the law and their lineage, they're welcome to practice Black Betterment. They're welcome. So in that, I mean, I've written down here, I've written literally all the black native groups, ethnic groups that exist. And if there any isn't on here, I'll add them to them, right? So historically, by law or by definition, all these groups were seen as black people. And at the bottom somewhere, I'll say, this was coming from a network I ran called Mount Mellon. Mount Mellon will also recognize, identify biracial offsprings of any of these groups as black people. So if a Moor or a Akan has a child with a non-black person, that person can be described as a black person. And this goes into a very deeper topic, which we didn't have to cover, but I'll cover anyway, just briefly. And it's what's a process known as racial whitening. Now, what racial whitening was, the Europeans wanted to find a way how to destroy and own resources that non-white people had. So in Australia, Canada, some parts of America and Brazil, what they were doing is they would encourage the lower kind of caste of white people to breed with the black people, or maybe the indigenous people, whoever they were. And then in the process of maybe 4 or 5 generations, they would eradicate that particular gene pool, that phenotype, and then that offspring will be a white-looking person who can also own the land, or own the resources that is going to was set up for the so-called Aboriginal person on that land. And this was a practice that went on a lot. So we have devised something known as racial blackening, and racial blackening is just a part of black people going with black people to I don't know if it's even in here. I think it's another document, but it's basically black people practicing black love. But within that black love concept, the biracial, so-called biracial person is welcome to start the racial blackening process of actually marrying a Yoruba person or a Afro-Jamaican or whatever it might be, to actually go back into being part of the black community and having that lineage go back into the black community, that kind of stuff. Sounds a bit complex, but it's just you have to do all this kind of stuff just to reverse all the challenges that history has done on black people, to which there is a lot. There's a lot of damage done to black people, and that is the reason why multiracial or biracial people can practice black betterment. Now that might be controversial to some, but this is how it has been historically, and because it's been that historically, it is today. That's obviously something we can debate.
No, I hear you, and I definitely think I'll definitely get more debates to be going. But no, I definitely hear you. And there's a comment I wanted to bring up here, which I know I've had a discussion with yourself. So I know, again, this is something which, if you can allow yourself to answer, but so I don't think you should limit yourself to who you work with. That's like saying I will only work with ginger or fat people. I work with anyone who is useful. That's my criteria. And that seems to be a misconception with what you're saying. So do you want to clarify?
Of course, yeah. So what it is, you as a person, you can, there's two answers to that. You can do what you want, right, in life, yeah? When you decide to work with black people, that process is called black betterment, right? But you might go to a shop and buy a candy bar. That's not black betterment. That's just you buying candy from an Irish man or Asian man, whatever it might be, right? But when you actually make a choice to work with black people, that's black betterment, right? Now, you have to always try to have an empowerment mind, and you always have to look first for black people. So, for example, I might start a IT company, and I go looking for some Nigerians, some people from Jamaica, whatever. This international IT company, and maybe there's one area that I'm on the project and I can't find anyone. If I really can't find any black people, then I'll go to the next step. I'll go to maybe another group, whatever, right? But I try it, right? And that's the idea, trying. You're actually making a conscious effort to do something. You don't just say, okay, well, we can't find a programmer, so the whole company's just going to be bust. We're done. Let's just go back to what we're doing before. It's the dedication and want to do something will make you persevere. It'll make you try to do different things, and also it's part of reversing the subservient mindset that we automatically have.
Awesome. But I suppose the point that he's trying to make, just to clarify, is this: there's nothing wrong with working with outsiders as long as the end goal is to help our own people. So you can work with outsiders, and obviously that is not betterment, but the end goal. So, for example, I know you said you get food. So you go to Lidl, as they're not owned by us, to get your food for your family, but the end goal is feeding your family, which is black betterment. Is that? I just want to. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, the process of your family feeding is that's the betterment, right? Giving them, if you want to go on that kind of level, but ultimately, you're aware, you're using this as transitional period. So you're going to be shopping from. So, for example, Lidl's there, and you shop from Lidl because it's in your area. But now, if right next door to Lidl is I don't know, Little Africa Town or something like that, or Jamaican's best, blah de blah, right? Yep. Well, now you can either give your money to Lidl or Jamaica's best. In that situation, you now have a choice. What do you choose? You see?
Yeah. No.
And the idea is, if you're practicing black betterment, you're going to choose the shop next door because you understand that it's all holistic, isn't it? It's all connected.
Oh yeah, and again, with the fact that 95% of our finances go outside our community, and again, with that choice, absolutely make the choice to invest in your own people, because at the end of the day, this is to help black people, black betterment. And we always complain a lot about this and that and our financial situation, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, given the choice, that's the case. But again, just to be clear, you're not saying you cannot do this. It's just in that moment of going outside, that's just not betterment. It's just if the end goal is to help you, whatever it is, for example, get an investment or maybe having to buy a house from someone. But for the end goal, for the end purpose, it is to help our people. Then yes. Boom, there you go.
I don't think I don't know if I've written it here. Let me turn it off. I don't know if I've written it here, but maybe it wasn't. It's helping black people whenever it's constructively possible.
Yeah.
Very important word, constructively possible.
No, that's a
That
very good
word should eradicate any other lack of understanding. If you can't help that, if helping black people harms you or harms someone, or it's almost, it makes you bankrupt to the point where you can't eat, that's not constructive. But if there's two shops, they're both selling the same stuff. One's a brand new black store that's opening, and one's like an ancient old, multimedia franchise, whatever. Go to the black one, innit? There you go.
No, and I like that word constructive. And funny enough, you actually mentioned that before on some lives that I've been a part of, as you know, where you've used the phrase constructive black people. Because one of the arguments that, again, people use, and one of the things which, I said just to, test the waters, is people use the analogy to try and say, well, what if you can't find a constructive such and such? What if you can't find a productive black man? All these black males are this and that. You can't find a productive black woman. If you can't find this, you can't do this. There's always something. But I like how you put the productive there. But talk me through, what do you mean by constructive? What is that based on the error prone high principle, or is there anything else which you would define as being constructive?
It comes down to what we know as being constructive, just as a society, right? And I think it's like having intended to have a useful, beneficial purpose. There you go. It's like you're intending to have something that's useful and beneficial. Now, remember, this comes from the context of Black Betterment, yeah. So, useful or beneficial towards black people finding solutions, really, yeah. And yeah, you're right. The thing is, you got to understand that a lot of us have been trained to be self-sabotaging. So whenever had we been another people group saying this stuff, there would be no pushback. It'd be like, well, they almost be like, well, duh, that's what they will honestly do. But because we're so used to sabotaging all our efforts, it's like, well, what if I was trapped in a train and all the black people had grenade launchers and there was a white person with a helicopter to get me to safety? It's like all this crazy stuff. Like, I don't know what that's got to do with what we're doing, but okay, my friend. And it's only really amongst us. Hence why when I start my show, I say black people are collectively inadequate. And that's part of it. It's I come across many people who self-sabotage in many different areas of life. So I see that kind of collective practice when I talk to many brothers and sisters. But the idea is I word things in a way that doesn't allow them to easily get out of these really A, B, C, D conversations that people make 1, 2, 3. It should be A, B, C, right? So just like that.
No, I love it. So let's get into some of the things which I suppose from a day-to-day aspect, in terms of how do we start the ball rolling? How do we become a black betterer? Because obviously that's probably the most important step.
I'm glad you said that. And I'll tell you how, right? So two things. Just to break down how I operate, and this might help people out. I only work with people on an institution level if they're black betterers. This is how I have to be. However, I do pro bono to any black person if time permit. So if there's black people trying to do good for themselves, I will dedicate my time and effort, and I will try to educate them and school them and give them connections, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to building any kind of institutions, it has to be with black betterers. And the idea is when I meet people like yourself and other people, I establish, are they betterers or are they just, life livers that got their own philosophy? And then through them, we can actually build and do stuff, right? If you were a betterer or we correlate with ideas, literally, I would help your platform grow on a more direct way rather than as a pro bono way. And then, and I would start bringing certain resources towards your company to make it bigger. And then I would use you as an ally to actually build this digital space of promoting certain things, right? So that's how I operate. But then just from a person-to-person kind of thing, I run networks, and that's why I recommend. If you use WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever these kind of apps, create forums, right? Create forums and have the forums dedicated to certain things. So you could call it Black Betterment or Happy Black, or whatever it might be, in health, self-esteem, justice, economics, creativity, whatever. Create a whole load of forums, right? And just invite all the black people to be there and go, whenever you have information on this stuff, dump it there. So for example, in the economics forum, if you need a plumber, go in the economics forum and go, need a plumber, who's available, right? If you're creative and you want to express yourself, go on the creative, express yourself. If you have another one thing that's really underrated, having a form called self-esteem, and in that all you do is you show constructed images of black people, black families, black women smiling, black kids smiling, black people inventing stuff. literally, and you add all black people who feel might benefit from, or all black people in general benefit from seeing constructive black images. Take control on a tangible step. It's that easy, literally. So everyone can do it. You got your phone, you got WhatsApp, you've all got that. Get as many black people into a single space, just black people, no one else, and just bombard them and have everyone be a part of the same thing. So it's self-producing. It's almost like Wikipedia, right? We can create systems that all of us can actually be a part of, and they sustain it. As we speak, I'm in 20 forums I've created, and I don't need to be the admin of them. Because I've got a code of conduct in each one. They're literally trading and talking as we speak, as I'm here, and it's self-doing. It's self-supported.
No, I like that. And someone put something in the chat which is very key in regards to self-sabotaging and low esteem as a product of upbringing. And I suppose there's a lot to that, which I just wanted you to touch on. I just need to, I'll be back in a second, but I just wanted to touch on that because I do think one of the biggest issues we have is self-esteem. And it could be because of where we are, we're a minority, like you said, the imaging, we don't have the most positive imaging, and maybe our upbringing as well contributes to that. So talk me through sort of those sort of things and how we need to best sort of move, I suppose.
Yeah. So what it is, someone, whether it's TV or it's the algorithms on Instagram, we're seeing constant, and also living in a certain, maybe a household of a destructive nature. We're constantly seeing things that keep us in an error-prone behavior, error-prone mind state, right? It's not really uplifting. And this is what we're constantly seeing. So we have to then create our own algorithms, right? And how we can do that, if we are going to use social network, I recommend following Black Betterment pages. So I think there's not called Black Love. That's not one you should follow. But there's like, I've got a list of it. It's not here, but I've got a list of pages you can follow that I'll give at some point. And it's basically black pages that show constructive stuff, black inventors or black men and women looking each other's eyes and actually having love or whatever, right? That will change your perception. That will change your perception if you can't see that, right? You have to build that, but also, like I said before, create your own forums and tell people the rule set. We're just gonna put self-esteem building stuff in this concept. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. Boom. Yeah. This is how we kind of change the kind of spell, right? Reverse the programming.
Right. Sorry, I'm just back right now. Sorry, I apologize.
That's fine. That's fine. Make your drink. Do your doing, mate. So that's so for the people out there, that's how I deal with self-sabotaging. It's a lot because here's what it is, right? We're actually in a bad position, right? And we're trying to, it's like we're almost in a swamp trying to build a house, right? Yep. So we have to build the foundation, and we're going to get muddy, and we're going to come across certain things, and certain things going to be very primitive and basic. But what I can do is give you a tangible step. Meaning, today you can use you can go on your Instagram and unfollow all the destructive things that undermine Black people, and only follow things that uplift and promote Black Betterment, right? Positive stuff. And then you can, in your actual WhatsApp, make groups you say, in this group, all we have to do is talk about Black economics. In this other group, all we have to do is Black self-esteem, and it has to be constructive. No swearing, no foul language, all high principle. And this. If you do this, I'm telling you, you will change. I'm telling you. This experience. I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know.
No, I love it. I love it. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to let me ask you these questions because I've been going through this in my mind. And the first one is this: is there a strategy that we need to do first in terms of this? Because I believe that a nation that's just full of educated people are pretty much slaves to what the wider institutions, people who own institutions, that they allow you to. So you can get a degree, and people say no one can take your degree from you. True. What someone can take is the jobs available for that degree to flourish. The market can change. So if you get a degree in I don't know, I say economics, but computer tech or whatever, and then for whatever reason, computers, it just changes. That degree is pretty much useless, even though you still have it. So my question is this: is there a onus on? Is it business ownership, or is it education, or is there? I don't know if you have a your blueprint as to what we need to as a group of people.
Useful skills. I had learning difficulty. I say learning difficulty growing up, but I was literally failing every course. Right. This is when I was young. Right. And I didn't really understand what was going on. I wasn't really interested or engaged. And then all of a sudden, I got influenced or interested in a certain way of learning. I found a way to make learning fun. Personally, it was something I did, and then I started learning things that people needed. I learned how to be a sound engineer. I learned how to compose. I learned how to make apps. I learned how to make websites, print documents, print in, you name it. I literally learned how to build PCs. I learned, I was acting, all this kind of stuff. I was learning at a fast rate because I found a way how to really learn stuff. And I realized the things I was learning, I could charge for. They were tangible. I could offer things that people wanted, and I could charge for it. So I'm saying, find things that are skills that you can trading skills. So whether you learn how to grow stuff, or you learn how to design stuff, or you learn how to fix people's teeth, or whatever it might be, things where we need this in our community, and it's going to benefit our community, and we can charge. For example, we keep talking about, we're on these apps and we keep getting kicked off when we talk about this kind of stuff. Well, it doesn't take that many people to make an app, right? So you can learn programming, UI, UX, big data, whatever it might be, yeah, to make an app, and you network with other Black people to make an app dedicated for Black people, and then you get crowdfunding. Now you can either get crowdfunding on another app, or you can get someone who makes a crowdfunding app, which is like a paradox, whatever. But generally, literally, the skills that we need, make your children learn them. Make your children learn them. Make learning fun. Like I said, I learned how to read when I was 15. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
just about.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was 15, that's when I learned how to read. Why? Because I wasn't even interested. I was just I don't know what I was doing. I was too busy having fun, right? And something snapped in me where I thought, you know what? If I carry on doing this way, I won't be able to afford anything in life. Yeah, and I literally just changed. It's like I was like Moses coming down from the hill. My hair turned white, and I just changed everything. And I started really enjoying learning. I found a way to make learning fun, and I've never stopped. Today, I'm still learning different softwares, different hardware, different philosophies. I've made it make sense to me. In it, I've made learning and helping Black people enjoy it very joyful.
No, I hear you. And Lorna, big up for this comment, because this is interesting. Our people are known for this: sports and music. Now, I'm assuming this you got no, well, they may not speak for you, but how do you view our? Because for us, our elites are really people who are in the entertainment industry, so sports, music, whatever it may be, social media. That's where our elites sit. Our elites don't sit in usually the business area; they sit in this area. Now, how do you view stuff like this?
Well, it's twofold. So one, our elites do exist in lawyers, doctors, and this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, they're not practicing Black Betterment, so there is no, remember, the teamwork skill ethic. And two, because we're not collected, because we're collecting America, we don't have our own media. So if we had our own media and we practice Black Betterment, we would be pushing our lawyers, doctors, and engineers as the spokespeople. But because non-Black people own all the medias, the only area of high payment that non-Black people have allowed Black people to exist in is sports and music. And in that case, they were able to be millionaires, whatever, but they were never able to own the label or own the teams. And unfortunately, maybe different in the 60s and 70s, but most of our athletes and musicians are not educated in any form of Black Betterment at all. So they're educated in how to be successful in that area, and how to buy expensive gifts or whatever it might be, a strip and dance and this kind of stuff, but not actually in what Black people need. So we, as the betterers, have to come together, form elite groups, and make institutions, and then we decide who is going to be. Because remember, we're not deciding. Europeans and non-Black people are deciding who represents Black culture on the European TV networks that they own.
Right.
You see?
I do. Awesome. Just before we continue, how you like for time? So
I'm good, man. I'm good. When you're, I'm here for your show. So
awesome. Yeah, if you need to obviously go, then by all means. But thank you. So I was in this current climate, then on that, when we talk about sports and whatnot,
yes,
would you consider our everyday the current guise of entertainers and sportsmen just another form of, I suppose, minstrel dancing? Because I spoke to that with Brother Kale last week, and how he was talking about how the arenas have evolved from the gladiators from Rome, obviously Greek, etc., to now you could argue we're now in the sporting arena. Do you see it in the same way, or could you see it as again, it's just a career path? It's not nothing crazy. I don't know if you see it any deeper than that.
Well, I never want to undermine, success or anywhere a brother sister can feed their family. But there is a lot of kind of the history of minstrel minstrel shows, this kind of stuff going on. And yeah, we could say that. It wouldn't be something that I deeply shun black people for, like getting involved, because at the end of the day, until we control until the leadership group start providing spaces for black people to thrive, without having to do things that's not in their best interest, we can't really speak. Where I can speak is where black people go the extra mile, and that means they're playing these football teams. And for example, I've got a picture here, and I don't mean this, so I can show it. There we go. So, brother John Barnes, really good brother, very entry level rapper, but he was getting there, right? But with him, he for a lot of the time he seems to jump in heavily. I think the one is that he was defending the brother from Taken because he wanted to beat up black people.
Yeah.
And he was one of the first to jump off code and defend that, when actually that doesn't work in black people's best interest. You see, always trying to be merciful to people who are trying to harm you. This is subservience. Right? So I think in that incident, you can use that as an analogy of a minstrel show, right? If you wanted to. But once again, John Barnes hasn't demonstrated he could be a black custodian. And so his opinion, he doesn't rep Black Betterment. He doesn't rep black people moving forward.
Now, on that, because you mentioned something beforehand, I just funny enough you brought it back, how you try to when it comes to institution building, only work with black betterers. How do you determine that? Because when you just speak to the average person, you kind of don't know who they are really. So are there key things that you look at? The obvious one is you put on screen that you can see right now is maybe their partner of choice. But are there other things that you look at to say, okay, for example, we talked about this last week. Wearing weaves, skin bleach. Brother Care was sort of comparing it to a mental illness. Now, I don't know whether this is something again, because like skin bleaching, that's something kind of obvious in regards to it. And there was actually a young lady who, funny enough, was doing something really good for black people who bleached her skin. And I was like, oh wow. But are there sort of things that you look at that says, okay, this is part of the pattern recognition, therefore I'm going to put you in that category, or I can't do this with you? Are there any things that you look at, or you sort of help?
So if I start the search of black betterers, but black betterers themselves have different personalities, so I might not work with them, innit? Just like I'm not forced to work with anyone.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is almost like it's almost like a CV, right? Like, 40 people push a CV in, and then it goes, oh, you need to have an A in English, so that's already 50 gone, whatever, right? Oh, not 50, 30 gone, sorry, right? So then it's like, okay, from the 10. So that's how it is. It's like, in order for me to see you, you have to have an A star, i.e. black betterer. This is, metaphors, right? But then of the A star, your personalities might not fit well with what the institution I'm trying to do.
Okay, no, I hear you. I definitely does make sense. I suppose with a CV, I mean, you could always lie, for example, which you can't control. And I don't know whether, for example,
that's the thing. It's like for example, there's certain rules. Like that's why defining things at the beginning is very important. And as soon as I go to, I've been on the board and I'm on the board in many black organizations. When I go there, there's a lot of rumbling because I start, okay, what are the rules on members? What people group are allowed to join? Are the members allowed to smoke drugs? Are the members allowed to fornicate with each other? Do the members have to be religious? All these questions, I ask, and I get an answer in it, and then from the answer, I determine how best to help or how best to bounce.
Now you've touched on a few things there, and I don't know, because I know you went through discipline, discernment, and your 4Ds. Now, I know we didn't go into any specific store, but you mentioned, taking drugs, fornication, those types of things. Are these things which in this mold you shy away from in that respect? So you say this is not something which, because again, I don't know if you get involved in people's personal life like that.
No. So the way I say is, if I'm running an institution, if their personal life can get involved in my business, it's an issue. So whatever you do at your home, I tend to not really know. It's not really for me, but what I tend to find is depends on the level of reach out you do, especially the community kind of institutions I try to help out. There are some people, they want to have their everyday life represent their operation life. So they want to smoke joints, they want to drink alcohol, they want to talk to women about being with them, whatever it might be. So I'm saying that, okay, that can't run. When you're operating here under this kind of institution, all that has to stop, isn't it? I think even Black Panther, I read they had a code. I read the Black Panther code, and I think it says you can't be drunk or high on duty. I mean, this I don't know what. Yeah, we have to say this, of course, but yeah, for some reason, when some black people work within European institutions, they're on their best behaviors. When it comes to working on black institutions, they want it to be like a slack fest, and this is something that why we need codes and refinement.
No, I love it, love it, love it, love it. I like it, I like it. So, for sure, no, it's definitely something which we do need. That's that structure, isn't it? Just to make sure that
Yeah.
we're on the straight and narrow, if you like. Now,
let me just say before we move on. You see, Brother Cal comes in. Brother Cal is a brother who saw me on Speaker's Corner. He jumped on the show, and he's got some good ideas. And as time goes by, we talk about ideas, we refine ideas, and just like you, brother, coming there, you come on my show, whatever. The more back and forth we do, if we're correlating, we synchronize with ideas about black people progressing, then we're going to benefit each other, and we're going to use our platforms and grow. And this is just this is the grassroots. We should then reach out to other people of like minds, and of all those like minds, there's particular skills. And if we're serious about helping black people, we can. But what I don't do is like I said, I make a clear distinction between black betterment and pro bono. So even when you saw me at Speaker's Corner, I was doing pro bono. If you ever saw me working, if a black person never confessed of the tenets of black betterment, then I'm just helping you because you're a black brother or a sister, and I'm being kind because it's part of my lifestyle to do that.
no, I hear you, and I do like that. And the other thing I'm going to say, and obviously you can control your own life, but people take advantage. You see, so as long as no one's taking advantage, because a lot of people, when it comes to our people, we want everything for the free. And when they realize that people who are talented and able to offer their services for free, people use and abuse it. So the other thing
Of course.
is, yeah.
I mean, after this interview, I'm doing some pro bono work for some people to help them find work wherever it is. But what I always do is I make sure that they have to start the effort. Yeah. And you have to gauge them and go, okay, if you go this far, I will go this far. But until you go this far, I won't do it. You see? You give them, so that's the thing. Some people,
a bit of a push and pull into it, a bit of a push, like carrot stick type thing. Yeah.
And one thing you do is you train people to understand the value they're getting, and that not everyone in the world is going to get this. So showing appreciation is a very important thing, to show that you appreciate, because you're well aware that this is not everyone gets this kind of opportunity. So it's all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Now let me put some, I suppose, facts in here, which may paint a horrible picture, but let's be honest. What percentage do you think can actually fit into the black better category? Because as we see when it comes to, let's take IR dating, you put the politicians up there, you got John Barnes there, but the IR dating stats is about 60% for black men date out, 33% black women date out, especially in like African Caribbeans. I think Africans are a little bit smaller, but overall the averages are very high, over like 50%. You've also got the fact of, you see all these issues that we face where probably more error prone, let's use that word, as opposed to high principled as people. And the fact that, that all of us aren't, 18 and under, a lot of us are older. So my question is this, realistically, how many of us are you anticipating could fall in this category? Or because I'll be honest with you, I see it more like Noah's Ark, where actually it was only Noah, his wife, and the 3 sons and their wives who managed to make it onto the boat after Noah was saying what he was saying. Whereas, when the flood came, everyone else wanted to come in, but it's too late by then. Do you see it in a similar sort of vein where actually, truth be told, this is only for the few and not for the many?
Yeah. So what I say is I use a controversial term for marketing purpose, and I actually am an elitist. And what I mean by that is historically elitism was like being born into something, being born rich and passing down your wealth and doing things that a certain person could never attain. They could never be that. My form of elitism is the hardest elitism. It's the elitism of choice. And that is, if you're willing to be high principled and you're willing to help black people, you're part of the elite. Now, yeah, you're right. There's many people through the choice they make, they can't be that. Through their choice, not our choice, their choice, right? But I do know that the 1% control the world, or the 5% control whatever it is. So I know that you can actually create any kind of movement or idea or institution, whatever it might be, with a smaller number. And what happens is all these behavioral patterns that you're talking now that actually doesn't work in black people's best interest have been picked up. So the idea is, if you were to just get a small elite to create institutions of black betterment, and that kind of branding, propaganda, all that kind of stuff, the black masses of those people who do things that's not in our best interest will automatically start doing things within our best interest. That's how it honestly works. The masses can't think at the rate of the elite. You have to have a small number dedicated to certain kind of imagery, marketing, consistency, and the masses who just live their life day to day will just correlate within it, and they won't even know they're doing it.
No, I hear you. You're right. Because look at our parliament, for example. At the end of
Yeah,
the day, it's a small group of elite who control the masses, who control
yeah,
where the flow of money goes, to control um, obstacles, whether it be going to war or not, whether it be legislation, all these things. It's really a select group of people, and even in that select group, there's an even more select group. You know, you have
yeah,
the cabinet; they're the ones. I know you have the backbenchers and what, but there's so many elites, and you got the lords. It's all a bit of a man. The UK is just elitism at its finest, even from the
yeah.
kings and queens days. So it's all the same thing. So no, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. It's it just for a lot of people. I don't know, because here's the thing I'll say with a lot of sort of pro-black rhetoric I'll use is
Mhm.
always a more of a. I know you do probably politically you don't really have an affiliation, but it all seems a bit more um, left leaning into like a socialist structure as opposed to more of a European structure, which is more, you know, again, you have that elitism because a lot of black people shun that kind of way of thinking. Is that would you say it's fair to say that? Or
Yeah, yeah. But just because I'm practicing a positive form of benchmark rebranding.
right,
So I'm taking the word elitism that was strictly to high educated and rich and that kind of stuff, and I'm putting it down to choice, meaning the black people who choose to help black people, I mean black betterers, are the elite
right.
when in regards to bettering black people, because that's how it works, right? That you have to be willing to do something for it to change. It doesn't happen by accident, right? So already in the context of bettering black people, the people who choose to do so are the black better elite. They're the black elite when it comes to betterment of black people. So I'm changing the benchmark there. I'm changing the concept.
No, awesome. And one thing before I open the panel, because we've been talking for quite a long time, and I
Of
appreciate
course.
people might want to come on the panel to ask some questions. So one thing I want to know is this: there's no delineation between a male role and a female role in this, because I don't know if you subscribe to this kind of belief system, but a lot of people, well, historically it's been this way. Men are the builders,
Yeah.
so men build a house, women
Mm.
make it a home.
Yeah.
Now, in the situation here as we find ourselves in, is there more of an onus, or is there more of a an onus on the man, on the male side, to be the ones who are the leaders, the ones who are the builders, the one who do this? Is there any sort of delineation between the groups? I know all groups can fit into it, don't get me wrong, but is there anything that you say, you know, as men we need to do X, Y, Z, as
Yeah,
women
yeah, definitely.
A,
I
B, C?
understand. So what will happen is when we talk about this, because of the modern movement and stuff, you might get a lot of who are and back forth. So what I've introduced is the concept of using templates as an idea. So what I'm saying in this regard, it isn't stone. It isn't yes, you have to know you haven't. It's basically people are born and there's certain things that have historically worked well for communities. We call these templates, right? So uh, men providing and protecting, women nurturing is a template. Yeah. And this is what we will teach a template. However, you might get a unique couple who, for whatever reason, who knows, decide we don't want to practice that template, but we still find a way to be constructed within that unit, as in that man, that woman in the household. Okay, fair enough. They're not using the templates. So I'm saying that yes, what you're saying is a template about providing, protecting, women nurturing, and it's a template that I promote. But if the individuals in their existence decide not to follow it, that's them. But it's definitely a template I would teach.
No, I hear you. The reason I ask, I suppose, is when it comes to these type of institutions, ego has always become a part of everything. Whether it comes male ego, male female, when it comes to the role of a woman, the role of a man, and it's always interesting to see exactly how it will play out. Because when it comes to who's the one who gets to speak on our issues, is that you know what I mean? Maybe it might be a case of if it's a female issue, like I don't know, domestic abuse, a black woman will represent. If it's an issue regarding something else, a black male will represent. If it comes to maybe gang crime or something like that, I don't know if that would be probably a template that would be used, for example. Um,
Well, within the groups and the speaking that I do, you tend to find that women talk on women issues and men talk on men issues, and then we speak on people issues. Like that's
right.
collective, so we break it down. You know,
But
but
you know,
once again,
it's when it's the face. You know, when it's like the face of it. That's the key sometimes. You know, when you have, because let's be honest. I know people don't like using this analogy about leaders. We don't need leaders, but in every organization, there are leaders. There are team managers. There are people who people look up to just by definition. And sometimes it gets to that where who's the leader, who's this, and da 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 da. I know I'm probably going into a bit more little detail, but it does cause a lot of problems.
Well, put it this way: if we're forming black institutions, then this will be an achievement-based initiative. So whether you're male or female, you should be able to rise up to the ranks where there isn't a non-black person who's using some kind of discrimination-based agenda, whatever, to limit men or women to get to a certain place anywhere. So we have to be skill-driven. And what I say is, if we're in a place where women are skillful, the first thing I tell to men is be more skillful in it. It's just like, it's like literally. One thing I learned at 15 to value learning, to be skillful, to have a trade, to know how to do something that brings value. Yeah, and that when I talk to men, that's why I say, do that. Never be the person complaining about someone being above you. Train. I've learned. I mean, I've changed my career so many times in a short amount of time because I wanted to. I've jumped from different discipline in the highest echelon of the industry because I wanted to. And I learned how to, I was struggling to learn by the age of 15. So the way I say, if I can do it, especially coming from the poorest borough in they said London, or was it England? I can't remember, right? Then I think anyone can. And that's me being honest.
No, I mean, that's a powerful story because, again, at 15, I mean, it is young in a sense, but for certain things, it's no, you're pretty much going to work. I mean, I was working when I was 16, so you know what I mean? So it took me up until around my 15 I had to actually learn how to read properly. And then from there, and I only learned how to read because I wanted to play video games, Japanese video games. Oh man, that makes it even funnier, to be fair.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and I think I came in on the IT revolution of where multimedia and IT were coming through. So learning one thing allowed me to learn something else. I just came in on the internet, learn how to search for things and download certain things and learn and self-taught. Amazing. And that's what I'm saying today. If you want, like I said, if you wanted to learn something, you can literally go on YouTube, type how to do it, and a man or a woman will tell you. So you got to think, what is it that we need as a people? Go on the internet and search it, innit? Right? But unfortunately, some of the brothers do things that might be reversible, or they feel reversible, like their lifestyles, the things they do day to day, their self-esteem. So hopefully I can, help, gather. And you're right. Some people are really into sports and music. Now this is the thing that I'm really into, music and sports, and I can write music. I'm an A-class trained sound engineer. I can master music, right? But at no point, well, to be honest, maybe in the future, I don't know. But I'm not. My emphasis isn't actually being in the music industry. Although I could charge as a sound. I do charge a sound engineer, to be honest, but whatever, right? So it is what it is. If you really want to do something, you really can. I'm not kidding you. Like, YouTube is there. It's literally there, and you can learn so much things. Simple, tangible solutions are in front of us, but we have to just make people aware and give people purpose and direction. One thing we want to be doing is giving Black people a list of skills that are very important to our community, and have them brand and make the learn of those skills fun for themselves and their children.
No, that's definitely where it needs to be at. And one of the things, before I open the panel, I just wanted to say this, because you were quite a bit of an older age when you sort of came into just the knowledge of what you were talking about there, reading and getting involved in everything like that at all. Now, there's a school of thought which states after a certain age, you're pretty much done for. Now, people think it's after 30, people think it's probably 25, but is there do you have that sort of, I'm pretty sure everyone can pretty much subscribe, but really and truly though, are you targeting the youth as opposed to the olders?
Yeah, so the youth are definitely, when it comes to learning and steering, like having them understand, like they're learning to better themselves and their community and their family, very important, because the thing is, you could teach all these people amazing skills and they go and take it and go to other communities and stay dedicated there. So keeping them grounded in either Pan-Africanism or Black Betterment or B1, whatever it is, where you're using your skills to better your community, whatever you want to call it, do that. Yeah. But at the same token, I've learned skills in the last 3 years of a night and day principle. Like I'm a graphic designer, right? And I moved from graphic design to motion design to animation to video editing to UI design, which is interfaces for the laptops we're using and the phones we're using. And they because you put the word design at the end of it, they sound like they're in the same part, but they're not. They're actually very different. Yeah. And yeah, I had to learn it, and I'm older, so it's like if I can do it, then I suspect other people could do it as well.
True. I think the only thing I'll say to that is you were probably you had that zeal from again, I say young age, but you had that snap at 15, which is still a good age where you can get people, whereas where you can still adapt and et cetera, where other people, let's be honest, they get a bit more inflexible, they get a bit more set in their ways, and by the time they've hit 25, 30, they're done out here. Let's be honest, they're just done. But no, I do agree with, if you want to change, you can change, but I suppose their better likelihood is to definitely get them when they're young, because
yeah, it's better. But what I'm saying, bro, I'll be honest with you, yeah, like what's that? There's that European actor, I don't know his name, right? He was on the Inglourious Basterds, I think it's called, the Nazi kind of thing, and he started acting. Yeah, he started going to act at 54 or something, maybe around that age. I can't remember.
Is really good. Not the German guy, Christopher.
The German guy, yeah, he's German. He speaks German, Italian, all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think it's Christopher.
Yeah, it's never too late to get into something, to learn something. Like, it really isn't, mate. Now, don't get me wrong, yeah. If you have like addictive behavioral patterns where you're heavily on drugs, heavily drinking, this can really make learning challenging, right? This can, and and that's why before you can do anything, you might want to deal with that, and first you'll do what Black people do when it comes to admitting we're inadequate, and that is admit that you've got an issue and then try to seek help for it. But mate, it's never too late to learn a skill or a trade, because the thing is, time always moves forward. So you might see something goes, it takes 4 years to learn this, but before you know it, 4 years passes. So if you started then, you're 4 years experience by the time it comes up.
No, that's true. That's very true. And again, I do hear stories again of people like 45 years old, and they've couldn't even work the computers, and then they took a course, and then they work in a very high up position in about space of 4 to 5 years. So no, 100%. They're definitely, life is definitely not over after you reach 40, 45. You know what I mean? It's definitely not the case. So I definitely appreciate that. Now, one thing I just want to say, so I just want to panel's open, everyone. So if you want to join the panel and have your conversation, have your say, ask your questions in regards to Brother Raven's template, any questions which you think needs to be addressed or anything that we've missed, for sure, panel is open. But until then, what we'll do, I will continue on with the show, I suppose. There are a few things which I did notice on the chat in regards to some of the questions which I think I kind of really wanted to say at all, but let me just get back to it at all. Where is it? In regards to some of the... Oh, is that you?
Did I change that? Is that me?
No, I heard the background, but I think you've muted it, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure we did mention this about religion, but you have no, in terms of religion, that still forms part of the template. There's no aversion to somebody practicing their own faith, is there?
No. So here's an example on screen at the moment. Here's how I break it down. So when you start helping Black people, the three things that will cause the most confusion is miscegenation, religion, and homosexuality, also LGBT themes, which is part of the same thing. So here's how I deal with religion. What I want is, imagine people are a phone. So people are a phone. Imagine religion is an operating system. That means the lifestyle, i.e. Black Betterment, is an app, i.e. WhatsApp or Google. Yeah. So even though your operating system might be Windows or Linux or whatever it might be, Android, you can still have your lifestyle on your operating system in order for you to help Black people. And there's a symbolic reference for people to take a picture of. It's possible. There you go.
No, interesting. Now, when it comes to lifestyle, now things like sexuality, though, now this is a sticking point when it comes to our community. I think. Do you think that's actually Black Betterment in regards to certain lifestyle choices?
Well, the lifestyle analogy here is Black Betterment. If you talk about anything else when it comes to sexuality, that's something you have to them. What I do say is constructive Black man with constructive Black woman makes constructive Black families. So if you're practicing lifestyle where you're not doing that, then that is not a template I can push. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm willing to sit down with people who practice new different lifestyles to talk about, whatever they want to talk about. But generally, as a template, constructive black man and constructive black woman make constructive black children. That's just kind of how it is.
No, I fully agree with that, and we need to definitely push that more, and definitely need to push, because again, we always hear these are black love things, but yeah, we definitely need to push that more. So yeah, constructive black man, constructive black woman, for sure, we definitely need to push that. Now, when it comes to what we our ownership, because I did a stream about us as a people, we're very inclusive and we assimilate a lot to the culture that we get into. So a lot of times we, other people sell our own culture to us, other people will sell our own products to us. Now, is this a symbol of kind of, I know you use the word subservient.
Yeah.
Now, is that due to, and again, someone coined the term post-traumatic slave disorder, obviously colonialism, slavery. Is that a symptomatic of just the fact that we're a minority, or is something deeper than that?
Well, it's holistic in a negative sense, in such as we're not practicing an awareness kind of mechanism. Black betterment is awareness, as in like, I wake up, I'm going to help black people. I wake up, I'm going to help black people. When back in the days when the racist white supremacists were mistreating black people, it was very clear that I wake up, I mistreat black people. I wake up, I make sure that my people are doing better. They did this for a long time, and they written their laws, and so it was so deep ingrained that it just, even past when they changed the laws, the culture of it kept going on. So we need to create the culture of black people helping black people. Once we create the culture of doing that and ownership, and we make that trendy, the rappers will rap about it, the football players will talk about it, the lawyers will start doing so, will start funding stuff, and the institutions will come up. But there has to be a choice awareness, and this is difficulty that we don't understand. Like talking about it, as in like, here's what we're trying to do. So when someone doesn't do it, we can say, well, why are you not doing that? Because you said you're going to try to do it, right? But what you're going to notice as well, even using like words like black and stuff is forbidden. This, you can't say that. You can't. People try to stop you. So when it comes to mistreating black people, you can identify them. When it comes to helping black people, you can't identify them, right? So there are all these obstacles going on. So the solution to this is black betterment. The solution is talking openly about solutions, right? And actually realizing we're collectively inadequate and working together to actually create these situations where we don't have to be subservient to other groups. Awareness. Right. The thing is, when you say, I saw Raven at Speaker's Corner, right? 100%. If anyone who sees me at Speaker's Corner will say, "Oh, he's that guy who goes to Speaker's Corner, talks about black issues and black people, black betterment." Yeah. While most of the other black guys, they're talking about, it's not wishy-washy, but it's whatever they feel about, and that's fine. That's their personality, isn't it? Yeah. But now, if you go, okay, I need to talk something about black betterment or black people progressing, my face will come up. The idea is for more faces to come up, more people to be that face.
No, I like that. And it's true. We do need more people to be on that face and also live in the lifestyle. So that's for me one of the key things. Sometimes it's, that talk is cheap.
It is cheap.
So for sure, it definitely needs to walk that lifestyle. And one person in the chat mentioned this. Is this something which is like a worldwide thing? I know obviously we're based in the UK right now, but is this something which can be extrapolated around globally, I suppose?
Yeah, so I think I read it somewhere. I'm sure. I'm trying to think of where I read it. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. But yeah, so basically, this initiative is a local and global affair, meaning you fix up your local area and then you go global. So, for example, me and you, we could start a company here, a shop or whatever, and obviously we look for places in Ghana or America or wherever to import stuff from. Constantly finding ways, but either way, it's somewhere there, whatever. Let's just say choice. There you go, whatever. Oh, look, the Black Custodians is there. That's cool. Yeah, we're saying. Yeah. So yeah, it's a local then global, but some people might decide to go global, but it's local then global. A big up, Sister Tash.
Yeah, big up, Tash. How you doing?
Yeah, big up, guys. Really, really good show. You guys have done a good job on this.
May I just jump in and say, because we always have to give people their flowers when they're here. Sister Tash has done a great job of networking and getting constructive people to try to find solutions. And just to highlight that, because we need more brothers and sisters who think that way, who are very constructively led, very high principled. And I just thank you for all the good work you're doing, Sister Tash.
Thank you very much. And the same to you, Raven, actually. And this kind of brings me on to my question, actually. you mentioned about an elite group, because I think my concern is the numbers, which I think White Matters he touched on in regards to people being dedicated to Black Betterment consistently. And I think you mentioned something about the elite 1% is also a small group. Could you go, I don't know if I missed it, but could you elaborate more and tell me the connection? Because I think my concern is we are small in numbers, but being that elitist group, we'd have to be in positions of power. So I was concerned about the comparison, and I was just wondering if you could put a bit more meat on it for me.
So many changes in society happens from a grassroots. Don't get wrong, the people at the top wield much power, but grassroots is essentially the masses, and the influence of the masses can happen at a small level. So what I've done is I've practiced some of this benchmark rebranding, as in, like, I'm saying that the elite now is the Black brothers and sisters who want to practice Black betterment. We're creating the society and the movement and the ideas that it's okay for you to help you Black people, and it's actually a very honorable thing. So once a person confesses they want to practice Black betterment, they want to be dedicated to Black people, they can be part of what we see the Black elite. Because it's like, what is the point of being a Black elite? What is the purpose of it? The purpose is you're actually good at doing what? What you're meant to be good at doing is helping Black people. So we are forming the Black elite. And the Black elite practicing Black betterment is the entry level requirements to be part of the Black elite.
I suppose. Oh, sorry. Go on, Tash.
Oh no, I've got on.
I was going to say, not to speak to Tash, but to Tash's point. Then, are we going to be, because that elite could all be powerless, broke people, and how can they affect change as widely as somebody who's in a powerful position? So, is there a fear that we're not practicing?
So on the screen, there's the 3 A's of change. I didn't know this was in the document, but I'll use it anyway. The 3 A's of change is aim, to have at least 30% of all Black people practicing Black betterment. So this is something that they call critical mass. They say that if you get 30% of anything to do anything, it becomes the mass idea, right? So we're trying to influence 30% of Black people, regardless of how poor, to do stuff. And then the action is practicing, openly discussing Black betterment. So see what we're doing now? We're not talking about flat earth. We're not talking about gypsies in the sky. We're not talking about pancakes. We're talking about how to help Black people and giving examples and move forward. So we're practicing, openly discussing Black betterment, influencing influencers. We're trying to influence the influencers. The majority of them right now, influencers are influenced by doing scandalous stuff. But we can revert that, right? And then obviously after that is the assimilation, improvements and ownership of Black people in all areas of people activity. That's it. The 3 A's of change. We do this, and we make it fashionable. We talk about it openly. We find sexy ways to describe it. It will influence it. Literally, it's a grassroots thing. Grassroots influence are very strong. They're more longer lasting because they actually have a firm foundation. Things that's erect from the top, there's no foundation.
Right. White Matter, did you want to come in? If not, can I just ask a quick question?
No, go ahead, Tash.
Yeah, no. Another thing about what you do, Raven, I think there's a particular group that this will benefit more than anybody, and I think it will be easier to kind of draw them in, which is the young, I suppose, secondary school students that are a little bit lost in the environment that they're in, and possibly suffer with self-esteem issues and what have you, right? And it'd be good, even for education purposes, for them to even attain what they're supposed to be attaining, because we do have attainment issues in education, especially actually Black girls are struggling at the moment, more so. I was thinking, have you thought about trying to brand it towards, because obviously this is branded more towards the adults, those that are in positions and what have you. Have you thought about branding it towards young people, maybe running some form of mentoring program that you could have people that are your betterers going straight down to young people that are in need of this kind of information?
Definitely. So when I talk to sisters and brothers like you and these great ideas, the idea is we talk, we network, and then we actively reach out to the young generation to these platforms, whether it's your Tashes or yours, WIM or mine, and we basically invite them and we get them used to coming, and then we jump on theirs. You know,
Right.
that's the plan. So I'm more than happy if there's any brothers sisters out there within that age range or any age range who have different platforms. I'm more than happy to jump on and give you strategies of how to help our community.
Yeah, because I think they're crying out for it at the moment, and I think coming off, BLM, and there was a lot of stuff that was taking place with Black organisations in the UK. Not that, sorry, before anyone says anything, not that I'm kind of connected to BLM in any way, but I found it quite interesting that these organisations were able to develop, and I think we're in a space now where we can kind of utilise those organisations, and I think your templates would be great for those kind of organisations. So I'm thinking, I've got a few organisations that I've been thinking of actually that would be interested in having a discussion with you. So hopefully we can have a chat about that later on at some point. But I just wanted to hear how it went with you and White Matters, and it's gone really well. White Matters, you've done a great job as well. So big up to you.
Thanks, appreciate it. I try my best.
Yeah.
But no, one thing I didn't actually get to talk about, which is I suppose the bedrock of all this, and Jesse brings it up very nicely, is the foundation a lot of this to do with healthy relationships? So is there any sort of thing where, because you got, for example, Black Love campaign, and a lot of things I think we struggle with because we just really aren't healthy as one another, or even in ourselves. So is there anything which you focus on which is more about, this? I know you talk about self-esteem, but is it just a case of a self-love campaign that we need to promote, or is there anything else deeper that we need to get into, like psychologically wise, to really untangle some of the things that a lot of our people are kind of in? Because a lot of us suffer from mental health issues, for example. That's very rife in our community. So there's quite a few things there, which I don't know whether you sort of touch on those avenues at all.
Yeah, so one thing, a lot of the stuff I do is networking, and me personally, I will never specialize in all the disciplines of the world. But what I should be able to do is invite or draw the people I do know to come and speak, and that's why this reach out now is important, because we can literally invite brothers and sisters to come on the platform to talk about Black health and give them a safe space where they're not going to be booed down or anything like that. And that's why these networks are very important. Literally, that's what it is. Within my own self, I do run I've got a group called the Care Group and the Self-Esteem Group, and in there's doctors and motivational speakers, about 100 or so, whatever it is, and they're in there in my personal WhatsApp groups, right? But yeah, whenever the community requests a certain topic, I will draw into the network. I have to invite guests to talk about those particular topics.
No, I like that. I do like that, because you're right. A lot of people more specialize in discipline, but no, I like that. Which is why the network is very key and very useful.
Very key. If you ask for something, I've got a phone to pick it up. I look in my groups. There's 20 groups all dedicated to different themes. I look at a particular theme and I search. And I recommend it literally, mate. If you Sister Tasha kind of done it in her own way as well. But if you go on your phone, you do the same thing. You can create your own networks, and then it'll be networks with networks. So if in my networks I can't find, I can go, brother, in your network, have you got any like plumbers? I go, yeah, let me look, whatever, right? So it's that kind of thing I'm trying to get, because obviously we don't live in one kind of community, but we did in the digital world, as I know, because I work in digital, we can literally have every Black person connected to the same network, and that'll be amazing.
100%. And on that note, I forgot to ask you this: is there a way of getting in contact with yourself, or I suppose, is this blueprint available on like a website or something which people can sort of connect with this sort of movement as such, and then get in contact with your network?
So I'm gonna, because I've been doing some other stuff. I'm literally, this is funny. I'm literally making the website as we speak, so I'll be uploading that soonish, right? But the good thing about my show at the moment is literally just like, you can, anything I'm doing, you can literally approach me and jump on anything I'm doing, and we can build from there. So on the shows, on Instagram, what it might be, you can literally come and draw. But the website will be up, and on the website I'll put the code of conduct, I'll put the 4D values, I'll talk the purpose, the wording, all that kind of stuff will be there, and people can just take it and make it and all that good stuff there. You know what I mean?
Awesome. So definitely look forward to that. Darth Malgus, welcome to the stream, welcome to the show. Any questions that you want to offer, or anything you wanted to say?
Yeah. Hello, Why Matters. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing good. Yourself?
Not too bad. I decided to drop in on this topic today. I might have a few things to say, or a few ideas to advance as to why we struggle to work collectively as well. That's very, very interesting topic as well. I think our societies from Africa, we promote collectivism and we actually work, but really and truly, we are individualistically minded. You know that our nature, we actually, if you look at how we're beginning from Africa, how it is that there is so many tribes and all these tribes are connected to each other, but there was so much divergence because there was abundance of space as well. There was abundance of space and there was abundance of resources as well. So people didn't really feel the need to actually come together and share resources, but more like just move apart. Everybody, as soon as an argument, that person moves space and goes. But anyway, that's just going too much into it. But I think in modern days as well, there is more. The reason is has not been a healthy and a good representation of success and success in our partnerships and in our collective action. There has always been either failures. There's failures mad all the way down to a political level, social level, and just to an individual person to person level. There has been quite failures. Some people have succeeded, but there has been a misrepresentation of that. One thing that I saw that I think could be good encouragement is I saw a Black American and a Ghanaian man working together to build real estate in Ghana. And I think he was shown on one of these YouTubers as well. They were speaking, and it was quite a successful project as well. And I think if we just had more of that and more of showing that examples of people working together and then actually it being successful, it will encourage more Black people to that working together could actually result very well. But I think over here in the West, we are even more forced to think individually to make it because we're very competitive, even amongst each other. We're very, very competitive amongst each other as well. So we always want to outdo each other. Why? That dynamic is strong over here. It's strong in Africa, but it's even stronger over here. I can't really explain why that we're very competitive. Maybe it's that kind of crabs in a barrel mentality that people say. But I think one thing that could help is if we could reshape the narrative about, because the biggest problem is that the politicians themselves stabbing each other in the back, betraying each other and all that. Our leaderships as well. You put money in the bank, somebody takes it and steals it and runs away with it or something, and there's no accountability. There has to be systems to mitigate that, to actually bring an organization or partnerships that work. To a person-to-person level, we need to encourage that sometimes you just can't do it by yourself and you need to find somebody to partner with. You need to get over your feeling to be better than your other brother and realize that only together that you guys can do things. Many communities don't have a problem with this, but I think for us, it's because of that on that representation of that unhealthy relationship that leads to failure most of the time. What do you think to say to that to the speaker?
Yeah. So one thing that we try to do, I recommend to do, is we rebrand working with our community, with Black people, success. We rebrand it. We make it something that is desired. We make it something that opens endorphins. It makes people feel good. We focus on that, as in we're trying to always rebrand how the value of work of other Black people. Yeah. That's how I do. So for example, when I do a lot of like businesses where I have to reach out and get graphic designers or illustrators, and I will get most of my designers from Africa, as in like the illustrators, right? And that's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy following them as artists and seeing their work. I enjoy networking with them, and for me, brothers and sisters from all over the world come together is like a win. Like the concept of it and the trying to get it done is exciting. Yeah, it is not competition. It's like, once again, I view it as a football team. Yeah, and even if you've got one great player on the football team, you will still lose if you don't work together. At no point do I compete with the person on my team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that entirely. I think one thing I have to say is, if you live in a space where it's not allowing you to, or it hasn't allowed you to rebrand yourself or brand yourself in a positive light as well, if you lived in that space, it kind of becomes a problem, right? So what can we do in modern times to actually because information 2 + 2 is still 4. Any information to achieve success is still there. So we can share information. It doesn't matter the dynamics, as long as we share facts with each other, facts to succeed in with each other. What platforms can we use to rebrand and share information? I think social media goes a long way, because you will not be having such successful representations on mainstream media, because you're not in that space and it's not your arena. You understand? I think many of the time Black people look down on Africa as a potential. I think it's a great potential for investment. Many people individually, organizations are all taken, and I think that's a good place to invest. But as well in the UK, what we can do as well is invest in Black businesses to help them come up as well. It's gonna take a lot of. I'm not about business is not trust as well. There has to be paperwork, filing, paperwork, accounting systems, liability. You have to account for all of that as well. Even if it's your Black brother, you have to think about all of that, because we need it to be successful. So there has to be accountability, because you can't work with somebody that's just gonna take your money and run away because he doesn't see the entire vision. He doesn't see the full vision. You understand? Because some of our brothers, they lack to see especially in Africa. If you take an idea and you put somebody to work, you might start stealing from your business as well, because he doesn't see the entire vision that you see. So he sees it as an opportunity to get over you and be better than you.
Hold on, brother. Let me just jump in and say. So just to add to that, just to add before you add more. The way I see it is, like I said before you jumped on, there's 2 ways I interact with Black people. Either as a Black betterer, meaning we're of the same like mind and we work together, or as pro bono. In the pro bono stage, that person might be that way inclined, and I'm really with them because they're trying to start a business. Maybe they're in South Africa, they want to make a coffee shop, and I'll give them maybe some design ideas, some branding ideas, and some maybe something else, whatever, to help start their business. And that's literally for them. In that situation, they can't con me because I'm doing it as a pro bono, and I'm helping them out in the hopes that they become constructive, and maybe in the future they become more able-bodied, so I can go back to them and either use them as an example to help someone else, or get them on something I'm doing because they're in a better mind where it might be, right? That's that. But then when it comes to actually the Black bearers, it's like now we are here allegedly, I'm assuming, because we're Black people who want to do constructive things for Black people. Therefore, meaning it's crucial, if people don't mind, to declare what you do, what your skills are in the network. So I can tell you, my name's Raven. I'm a multimedia director. I can build PCs. I'm a sound engineer. I'm a composer. I make apps as a UI designer, UX designer. I have a history of graphic design. I've done all this as an independent contractor for many years. And I also practice Black Betterment. I do pro bono work. I go around doing that. That's my skill set. That's my skill set.
Also,
So just before you continue, because I want to make sure I get the panel on. So let me just go to Mr. Pelu, just because I just want to make sure I can get everyone's input on this, and then we'll definitely come back. Mr. Pelu, sorry, welcome to the
show. How you doing? How you doing, everybody?
Welcome.
Yeah. I love the topic. I love it so much. It's a great idea you're putting. Like, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch most of the show up until now. But this idea is perfect. Matter of fact, I even have I've formulated a companion ideology called a Black positivity, and it works perfectly with what you're doing. I have my own ideology called Black positivity, but it sounds almost the exact same thing as what you're already presenting, and I never knew that you had all this material already there. So it's a perfect idea, and I like the fact that you understand that it's going to be an elite who do it. And what I mean by elite is I get what you're saying by elite, because in anything to push anything forward, the first thing you're probably going to need is a vanguard. So your vanguard is going to be the ones going to push everything forward, because the regular people don't necessarily know. But as long as you have a vanguard that keeps pushing it, they keep pushing the ideology, but then you see the results slowly build. So it's a great thing. I hope you keep it up, keep working on it. I subscribe to your page, and I'll be looking at your material to see exactly everything you're talking about. But it's really good work y'all doing. Thanks for doing this presentation today.
You're welcome, bro.
Can I say something quick, right? Just allow me. One thing I think is, I think we already know social media is a great space, and it's not as controlled. As it's a great space for us to advance what our attention should be on, what we should pay attention to, especially towards our younger ones, towards our kids. I mean, the other day I was walking around and I saw a young black kid, probably in college or high school, about to advance year 11. High school. I asked him, what does he want to do? You know, because it was not that long ago that I was in high school. I asked him, what does he want to do? So learning from my mistake, he says he wants to be a footballer or something. You understand? He wants to do football. And I say, any other ideas? No. You understand? So this is not a case in which I'm looking down on football. Footballers make fucking stupendous amounts of money as well. So it's just a way of what is projected to the younger youth as in how to make it. You understand what I mean? The only way to make it is through these entertainment like lottery careers as well, which is music, football, entertainment, and all this kind of stuff. This is what's being projected to the younger youth as well. I'm not saying not all the youth, but like that day I took the example because I thought it, and I stood there and asked the kid, and I also gave him some other examples. I said you can have football as a primary if you want, but these are secondary things that you can do. I pushed him towards, after uni you can even enroll in STEM skills as well. If football doesn't work, there's still ways to do it. If you don't do it through university, you can do it through industry certifications. Industry certifications will get you back there, or you can do it through going to uni, which will give you a different other experience. It doesn't guarantee you, but so there's 3 ways to do it, and you can go through STEM, engineering, science, anything you want as well. These will get you to at least be able to be, you can have something as well, and it gives you an achievement, and you might even become more productive. And from that, you might even start your own firm because you understand So I started advising the kids this way. But what it made me realize is like I was younger as well. Many of our younger youth just look towards this kind of lottery careers as a means, as the only way to get a job or something like that. So in the space and in changing the narrative, I think it might be important to try and reel back in what our younger youth and our people should focus on and pay attention to. What do you say to that?
I agree. There's something you said there about primary secretary of work. There's something that I practice myself and teach children I come by, and that is trying to be developed in more than one skill. So obviously a lot of people will be heavily influenced by being a football player, a basketball player, a musician of some type. And there's great skill to be in that, but obviously there's a small number. I think there's a guy called Jawanza who talks about that as in like a very small number of people can achieve that. But I would say what I would say is, I haven't got the document here, but it was like a fun craft or an entertainment craft or an enjoyment craft, and then a practical hands-on craft. So being a plumber, being a farmer, being a programmer, being an engineer. So you have that fun craft. I put down in the group the word polymath, and that's a person who's trained in multi-disciplines. And I think I would definitely get children to learn in more than one discipline for that reason.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I was gonna say as well. So cheers. Thanks. I'll listen on the background.
No, thanks. Doff, have you seen the private chat as well? Just before you go, just if you look at the private chat. But no, thanks for coming on. If you are going to jump off.
Oh yeah, Discord. You have a Discord thing. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Cheers. I've been listening anyway, but yeah, that's all I got to say as well. Yeah, cheers. Bye.
No. Thanks for your contributions. I appreciate your contributions. So thanks for coming. Mr. Perry, do you have anything you wanted to add? I know it seemed like you two need to probably have a bit more of a definitely collaboration session, because it seems like you're same thing, but obviously different side of the pond. So no, do you have anything else you
Yeah, no. I don't really have nothing else to say. I'll probably jump off too, but it's great. I'm gonna go back and watch the beginning of this video, and I subscribe to your thing, and I just want to keep in touch with you, Brad Raven. I'm in touch with why it matters. So if you can connect us, that'd be perfect. And I want to do some follow-ups. But I love the material you're putting out. Thank you.
Thank you, family. And that's what it's about. It is about networking with like minds and trying to, build from strength to strength. And the funny thing is, you could be in a room with 20 people and you talk all the time, but you don't actually break down who they are, what they're about. And there's many skill sets in the room. So by having the skill sets, being able to connect with each other, we can find solutions at a rapid rate.
Yes, perfect. Exactly.
No, I like that. There's a question I wanted to pose. Now, do you believe in like a one nation state? Now it's difficult for us because we have so many nations in Africa and the Caribbean now and whatnot. But I suppose my example would be China. So most of Chinese people are in China, and obviously they go out to different nations, but their sole aim is to build up China. Now with a lot of Pan-Africanism, their sole aim really is to build up Africa to help the Africans diaspora. Right? Is there a similar viewpoint here? I know you talked about everyone build up where they are, but is there a similar viewpoint now? Say they connect perfectly, to synchronize ourselves perfectly, not just in mind, body, or mind and spirit, but in body, as in a singular place, like or the continent, for example.
Yeah. So as a Black bearer, any solution that someone can demonstrate that works in Black people's collective best interest, I will go with. If someone can demonstrate that, I'll agree with it. This is a local global situation. So in the sense of, if we use Africa as the base, we're going to be trying to work with Africa to build that. By the same token, we're going to be here. So there's an advantage we can have by being here and being there, and maybe at some point getting dual citizenship, who knows, right? And then basically, it's almost like, when Chinese people go to Chinatown, and there's a Chinese person there, and there's a person in China, and they do their networks. There's no difference between this and the Caribbean and this and Africa. There's no difference.
Yeah,
you could do that.
That makes sense. So build up your little so-and-so in each individual place that you're in.
Yeah, so for example, I'm here, I'm in England, I might start, say, a comic company, right? Where I do Black empowerment comics with, I don't know. And then obviously now, when it comes to reaching out, I'm reaching out to Nigerian illustrators to actually draw the work. I'm reaching out to American voice actors not voice actors, say inkers to do the inking. And maybe the storytelling I might get from people in Kenya. I don't know, maybe they're better at telling stories, I don't know. And that's my team. And, I'm going around the diaspora and I'm going directly there, and we're building up each other where we're at. But it's like, even though I'm here, they're there, it's like we're still as a people group growing together.
No, I like that. Which is true. We can you can outsource, or you're right, you can hire people again to make sure it builds up the same goal, isn't it? So no, I like that.
The more influence we get, the more bigger we get, the more we can actually make decisions. Like, for example, I don't know if they still got it, but in Liberia, it was the only country where it was the right of Negro return. I don't know if they've reversed it, but in the laws and the institution, every Negro was at some point should be allowed to return to Liberia in the diaspora. I don't know if that's still going. I hope they don't change it.
Had it in Ghana as well, didn't they? The year of repatriation.
No, the year. Okay, let me explain that to you. I actually know about that. I'm actually from Sierra Leone, right? And Sierra Leone had the same similar law it had the same similar conditions had a similar condition to Liberia, right? And it was a country's made for people to come back, because even our laws, if you're Black, you can always come back. It's like as long as you can say that, as long as you could be 1/4 Black, they allow you to come back. I think Liberia had the same thing. It's like you have to be at least 1/4 Black. You have to at least have a Black grandfather or grandma. They'll allow you to come back and get citizenship. And citizenship is actually restricted. Like, if you're not a Black, you can't even get citizenship in both of them countries yet. I mean, even though they're changing it now, because they gave their first batch of citizenship to some of the Lebanese community a couple years ago, but they haven't changed the law yet. It's not actually legally changed yet, because they haven't figured out the language they want to use to rechange the laws. But technically, that's still in about. That still goes on in Sierra Leone and in Liberia. The whole returning thing. So they're both created to be a returning nation. And secondly, about having a one Black nation. I mean, I like China. I don't want it to be like China. If there was, I want it to be more like I want it to be more like a confederacy. Because even in the larger nations in Africa now that are larger federations, there's always a lot of problems coming from from Nigeria to Sudan to Congo, Democratic Republic. All the larger countries have a lot of issues. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't think power should be centralized in one body. If they have a coordinating body that works, that'd be better. But I mean, in one body, like history has shown in the last 60 years since independence that we need more decentralized power, because the more decentralized your power, the less corruption. Like you have to be able to mitigate corruption and have a national order. Because look, China has been a one civilization for thousands of years. Africa doesn't have anything similar to China being one civilization with one lingua franca where everybody knows. Everybody in China, they know Mandarin. Even if they have the local dialects, they all know Mandarin. You know what I'm trying to say? They all go to school. Yeah. It's not like it's a one civilization understanding. So before we can say we want to make a one country, we got to get one civilizational understanding first, and that's better in the confederacy, the decentralized confederacy first, and if that works out, then we could have more and more union, right? But we have to just first harmonize before we need to have harmony before we have unity, because we can't have unity without harmony, or else we have corruption and and oppression. You know. Thank you.
No, I agree. And funny enough, this is where I suppose for a lot of the pure Pan-Africanists, which is where I kind of digress, because like you said, Mr. Pelu, I mean, China probably was not the best example, but I suppose in terms of China's more similar ethnic groups are pretty much one, and I think there's a law that they're trying to get rid of the local dialects and just have a blanket sweep of Mandarin, which a lot of people aren't happy with. Obviously, it's China, isn't it? Whereas already in the continent, in one nation, you've got like 50 different ethnicities and 50 different languages and tribes. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be crazy. So I know a lot of Pan-Africanists want to get rid of the tribes, and maybe that's one of the problems we have as a people. We're people full of different tribes, and it's just, you're right, use the word harmony before we can unite. And no, I do appreciate that, because it's true. We do need to, be, harmonious with each other. And there's so many things which we're just unharmonious about, unsynchronized, that it's, it's going to be crazy. But no, I hear what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, nice. Right around, man. Yeah, so for me, like I said, as a black bearer, because for all I know, the solution for black people might come from a woman called Joanna. I don't know, right? And if it works and it's in black people's best interest, I will listen and contribute towards it.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, I do like this, because your blueprint is more open to again, other ideas, as long as it fits in the main tenets, which is it to help black people? Is okay, we rubber stamp it. And there's a question, then it might be a bit of a vague one, but how would you consider helping black people? Because what I may consider helping is not how you would consider helping. So is there any sort of tangible outputs that you would say in your mind, this is what we like to say is a betterment for black people?
Well,
I'll use an example of music. So music example, which some people say it's degenerative, some people say it's an opportunity, and it could both help black people. Some people say it, or some people hurt. I mean, that kind of stuff. Is there anything which you would say that's definitely not in the best interest versus people?
Well, the thing is, it's like, what we do know about the music industry in America was there was a time where the music was diverse, right? And you got gangster rap, you got party rap, you got happy rap, back to Africa rap, and those kind of rap. And then at a certain point, it just started being gangster rap. Also, there was a channel called BET, and BET used to show a array of different stuff, jazz and all this kind of stuff, and blah blah blah, good stuff. And then the owners sold jazz. It was to a black couple, and then as soon as they sold it, it started doing porno rap, and that was getting high clicks, so they kept doing that. Also, BET would show the Million Man March in 1995. I went to the Million Man March in a couple of years ago. It wasn't shown by any channel because, once again, BT wasn't owned by black people. So I think, even though, yes, we can say that some of these things we talk about, like rap, is some of them things are bad, but really, I don't want to lose focus of who actually really is promoting that. Like, it really is record labels who have an invested interest in this kind of controversial, where they have no accountability. And it isn't just that, my friend. It's like there's a lot of social network gossip kind of things that isn't run by black people. So they will use the most error-prone of black culture and market it for their algorithm because they have no investment in the people. So, and then once again, the Black Bourbon in this regard is taking control of that and actually having high principle people dictating what the media plays. And once again, once you have black custodians and stuff, we will be, for example, if you look at Jewish people, when in England and America, when a person speaks ill about the Jewish person, they shut down straight away. Our black custodians will be doing the same thing. They won't allow black people to harm ourselves or other people to harm black people. But it's just getting that kind of mindset in place. We don't have the mindset right now because we still have a subservient mindset. You see, and it's like, how do we create empowerment mindset without isolating people, but being logical? And in my opinion, the way I'm constructing this kind of lifestyle is that way. I'm literally studying, reviewing, and I'm constantly reiterating, because I learned this technique as a UX designer. You have to keep reiterating. You're never successful. You're always trying to get things refined. And you study it, and then you review it, and you bring it back, and you update it.
No, I hear you. It's just again, it's just making sure that we as custodians do the honor, making sure it is for the positivity of our people. Because I've heard people who I thought were on the side of, I suppose, Black Betterment, and they champion a lot of the things because, you know, it's an outlet for the youth, or it's something which, you know, we may not understand it, but they need to understand it in their language. And I'm thinking, oh, other groups don't see it that way. They automatically unite on it. That's a terrible issue. And again, I don't want to hit music, but it's just an easy one to hit.
It's easy to hit. But let me say something.
Even film, even like I said, social media. I mean, even some antics on social media, like again, Warstar Hip Hop. That's, I think it's Black owned, from what I understand. But again, it's all debauchery, isn't it? And it's like, so even when we do, I'm not saying that they're for Black people betterment, but they would say, oh, well, this is for Black people to have their way of putting out their media. It's like, well, what are you putting out there? So it's always this. Well,
it's slackness, isn't it? But the thing is, unfortunately, I think with us, because there's not much institutions in the constructive area or high principle area, we focus on the few who got up through being, you know, destructive in some sense. But what I'm saying is, had that brother or sister who made that being a Black betterer, they wouldn't be able to do that because they would know better. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you raise your children to be high principled and practice Black betterment, right, in any form, it will inform their decisions, isn't it? It will inform decisions. The brothers and sisters who do that, they haven't been raised in that kind of way. They've been raised in the TV way, in the internet way, the social network way, which tells Black people, be error prone. Error prone is what you want to be. Error prone is what you can never be, and that's what you're always going to be. And that's what they do. It becomes so natural for them to be that way. So what I'm saying is, the reason why I exist and you exist and we exist is because lack of leadership, lack of ownership has happened for so long that Black people were adapted to living month to month without any kind of aspirations for longevity, second generation wealth, ownership of institutions, accountability. And we're now making all those amazing things trendy. So that means rappers will be empowered by talking about owning, being constructive, loving Black women, rather than the opposite. To the point where when those people are talking about mistreating Black women, will have such a firm foundation, they will feel silly. Like I said, we're at the point now where European or white rappers could say the N-word and feel comfortable and have Black people defend them. The way we're going to change it is they're going to now scour the internet to destroy all assets of that, all videos, because we're going to change the narrative, innit? We need custodians. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is. We haven't had any.
Yeah, and one of the things which for definite it needs to happen is power. In order, because like Tash was saying, and it's a very true point, in order for us to change the narrative, we need the power in the right areas. So I know one of the areas we talked about was ownership and in the media. So I think, funny enough, like the Jews, they're known for owning media outlets, whether it be TV, film, print, because owning the media and owning the narrative is the key when it comes to your history, your present, and therefore your future. So I think for me, for definite, how I see a lot of things is we need ownership in those areas. Whatever type of media we're in, we need to have some involvement in there to make sure we control our own narrative, because that's self-esteem, that's to do with how we see ourselves, how we view ourselves. A lot of that, again, is very, very key. So no, if anything, I would say for sure, we need to make sure that we have ownership in the right areas and the power positions. Sometimes it's not all about, you know, MPs and politicians, because they can be bought and sold, let's be honest. But sometimes there are certain situations where we need ourselves in the right areas, in the key areas. So no, as long as we have that in the power positions and we understand what they are, then absolutely we can fully be properly custodians. Otherwise, it's a lot of talk and we can't control the culture.
Yeah, so I think for us to have tangible first, one of the tangible first I'll be doing is like having campaigns where we promote Black-owned businesses that's owned by Black people and their family. So we go, this is Auntie Jane, this is her husband, this is her business, this is Jim, this is business. And we put that out there in the internet. So go, if you want to buy, if you go and shop and you want to buy biscuits, buy Auntie Jane's biscuits, whatever, right? And we make that a thing, right? And then after a time, we start promoting Black people who are in the community or doing what they're doing, who identify as Black bearers, or identify as wanting. The most important work is Black people wanting to help Black people. Like, that's a very important thing, because we haven't been allowed to articulate that. We've always thought that it will happen on its own, and it will not happen on its own. What will happen on its own is subservience. because that's what's been trained to all Negroes. All people who come from colonization and enslavement have been trained to be subservient to all other people. That's why one of the most important philosophies I always push, very important, see if I can find it. It's this one. Collectively, black people have no friends. Amazing quote, very important quote. And it's very true. So collectively, black people have no friends, and collectively, black people are inadequate, right? This is very important because this will motivate people to change that, because there's no way we can accept these realities and carry on as it is.
No, again, powerful words, man, powerful words. And there's one thing I wanted to talk about actually has this always been the case for our people, or is this just recent history? So one of the things which we like to talk about when it comes to history, Black History Month, whether it be October over here or February or elsewhere, if it's in Canada or whatnot, is we always talk about historical empires. You know, I think the richest man ever recorded is Mensa. And I'm just thinking to myself, is this just a recent thing? So this is something which I suppose it can be, it can definitely be changed, or is this something which, for like some other, depending on who you listen to, has always been the case that we as a people just seem to have been right for conquest?
No. Well, yeah. So if you read Robin Walker's book, When We Ruled, he talks about the history of black people from Africa and all over the world up until the Portuguese first come and invade, or maybe even the Arabs. I can't remember. So he talks about that, and that's what it was. But you got to understand, this is like 500 or so years of a consistent system, right? That's literally built the planet as we know it. So this system has gone throughout the whole world, and this is the education. So it will take a long time for us to reverse it. But having purpose is so important. Having a reason for what we're doing something and being able to articulate it. You see. So when someone says, "Why am I spreading a Black Love campaign?" Because I know that black people are collectively inadequate. We practice the highest level of self-hatred. We don't value what comes natural to us, and other people groups will actually take certain characteristics from us without even crediting us, right? So I'm saying is this plus many other things is why it's necessary to have a Black Love campaign, because black people need it. Now, if any person tries to reverse black people doing better for themselves when we all acknowledge that we're in a wretched condition, then already we can highlight you could say enemies of black progress, right? We can highlight it. Because if we came from the standpoint of saying black people are kings and queens, we're winning, we're the best, no one's better, then us trying to change things, there is now a counter narrative that says, well, if you're doing so good, then why are you dedicating to yourself then? That's wrong. But actually, we're doing terrible. And we've demonstrated that no one wants to help black people. Yeah. Also, something that you said that I want to approach as well, when you said that, if BLM and these things that keep coming around, the black veterans in the community, people like myself, even though we're always going to love all these new movements that come around, and we're always going to try to highlight the constructive element that is about black people doing better, whatever. If the core tendencies don't correlate with black betterment, then it isn't something that I'm going to really jump on. It'll be a pro bono. So if there's a new movement and they're talking about black love, they're not talking about black economics, they're not talking about ownership, yeah. If they're talking about, let's go to the powers that be and let them know we're not happy with this, then I'm like, okay, I can support you on the pro bono tip. Like you go girl, you go sis, you go bro. But it ain't gonna be a campaign I'm gonna be pushing as the major thing, because the major thing is these basic tendencies, isn't it? Black love, black economics, black betterment, black people fixing themselves.
No, I hear you. And this is the thing where, when we go into some of these movements, and I don't know if you agree with this, I have to be kind of careful how we do it, because again, we always hear as more and more time goes on about these movements and how their true purpose and their true nature comes out in a different way. And
yes,
I don't know whether, again, how you would consider this type of stuff, BLM being a classic example where it could actually fit some of the tenets, because it is to help black people, but its end goal, people may say, oh, hold on, time out. What have we got ourselves into right now? You see what I mean? So I don't know whether we need, I don't know how it would work, obviously, in principle, when it works, but there does need to be
what it is. I will make a code of conduct, which I'm making for the black custodians, and then we'll read out the code of conduct. And if the black organization doesn't uphold the main primary, or all of them, then this is a pro bono thing. As in, black people should look at it, or black veterans should look at it as pro bono. Like, because you're black people and you're dressing up nicely and you're cheering and you're trying to get something done, I support you on that level. But as in me joining your institution and investing time and money in it, if you don't correlate with these Black Betterment principles, these custodian codes of conduct, then no. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, use me as Speaker's Corner, for example. Look how many black speaking concepts and institutions that I was a part of. But I was a part of all of them through pro bono, all of them.
But I suppose what I'm trying to get at is more of a deeper thing, or where because you're seen with them as helping them out in regardless of what capacity that you know, because obviously it's pro bono, you're looking to help to a certain degree, but the outside world, the people who don't know, will see it as, oh, raw, that group is now partnered up with that group, which means
no. Once again, this is why talking is so important.
Hold on one second. Let me flesh out the point and
go ahead.
The outside world will see it as a case of, because you're working with that person, you are now siding with what that group believes in, whether you agree with it or not. So there's a reason why optics matter, don't they? So if you side with a group which has its true intent is destructive in its manner, even if part of it helps, then you're going to be seen as that destructive force. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but you use the word destructive. So regardless of how some good thing, because every wicked person does good things, right? If something generally is destructive, then we just can't co-sign it. I'm talking about, it's like, you know, they don't support black economics, they don't support black love, but they want to stop kids from being kidnapped. I support that, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just, but obviously with people like me, it's more thorough, it's more refined, because once again, these things come as fashionable. When it's like, it's fashionable to join these things now. And the reason why non-black people, once again, this correlates with black people have no friends collectively. The reason why so many non-black people support these movements is they're not asking for actual tangible things like empowerment, black love, black economics. They're not really caring about this kind of stuff. Reparations. They don't care about this kind of stuff, right? So it's like, all right, cool. I just kind of do what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just, I think Martin Luther King Jr. said something. I believe he said something, or he's believed to have said that. Obviously, his movement, the movement, civil rights movement. Obviously, it's not his movement, but in terms of integration, one of the things that I've been famously quoted is almost regretting the fact that he's almost taken his people into burning house. And this is kind of what I mean, where, of course, that's the economics gets, you know, integrated. We can do this, and then 60 years down the line, it's like, oh my days, our business have gone. But what he did was for black people. You see what I mean? It's almost like that foresight where it's just it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Where again, I know what you're saying. It just almost feels like, oh, we just have to kind of be careful about everything, not just, okay, I want this part of it and that part of it, and I'm good. Actually, 6 years down the line, what we find out is our people are in the worst welfare state, for example. You could argue when the introduction of welfare and that kind of stuff, that's a good thing. Yeah, why not? That's a good idea. That's going to help our people. We're more poorer. Actual fact, it may create more victims, more people who actually are reliant on the system. But in the moment, though, when it's trendy, like, yeah, why not? And then your name gets associated with all those things. You're like, oh.
The thing is, brother, there are scholars in our community who foresee these things before they happen. And it's to them we must always listen. And because if you have Black Betterment at the core, then you can see where something is going to work. You can see, hold on, if I integrate, then that means how does my baseball team work? How does my bus organization work? See what I'm saying? It's like, I think you could say something like, rather than integrate, change the law so you don't discriminate against me, but I'm still going to own my businesses. I'm still going to do what I'm doing. It's just change the law so you can't like harm me and get away with it. You see, this speech, it's like, that's why I say priority is important. Like, for a black person to be beaten so badly, and the priority is talk about holding hands with other people, that's irresponsible behavior. That's irresponsible.
Let me ask you a question quick. So how you feel about cooperating with other groups? Because you're saying a lot of things that a lot of other people say too, like right, what is Black Love campaign? Like, for example, in my area, there's a movement called Straight Black Pride. We have a thing called Straight Black Pride, right? Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of things that a lot of people. I'm just give one example. There's probably thousands hundreds of organizations that have similar views to what you have in different aspects. So how you feel about network. So like if so many people are doing similar things, how come we don't have a big enough network? Is the Black custodians supposed to be the network builders for your ideology? Because so many people think in the same way, but their efforts are not being synchronized. So what we do about synchronization?
Yeah, so if we do correlate on the same stuff, then we exchange numbers and we network, and more importantly, we exchange skills, and we make establishing that what do Black people need, and let's do that. Yeah, and that's what I know. I've heard about the Straight Black Pride movement. Was it Genie started that? Or maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. So, Genie, I personally know him. He lives in my area. Like, I know I'm from DC too. Like, I personally know him. I personally know Genie. I have his phone number. I know Genie personally.
Yeah, good. So
Yeah.
if I come across these brothers and as long as our ideologies or our ideas or our lifestyles correlate, but for me, my ideas don't have to correlate for me to do pro bono. I will do pro bono for any Black person the time given. But for me to actually dedicate time, money to build something big, we have to correlate, because if we don't correlate, then like I said, down the line it might crash. But well, that's the thing. Honestly, I'll just reveal all hands on deck. We need to create a network, right? And I feel that in this day and age, the best network is in the digital app space, yeah. And hence why I've learned how to build apps. So I'm looking to network with developers, UXers, motion designers, copywriters, a big database, all people, Black people who specialize in this, and we come together and then we get a crowd fund to actually build an app that the UXers will devise that connects people. So it might be, you go into a certain city, and then if you want to find a Black person in this city, you put the GPS, whatever, and it finds like any kind of business, and you connect with them then wherever you go in the world, wherever it might be. There's millions of ideas, but even like having sit downs of other of those people, go, what do we need from the digital world, and then let's get the team to build it. You know what I mean?
Can I just unmute, or should I keep?
Yeah, sure.
Mute?
I want to ask, did I answer your question, Mr. Paley? Was that? I suppose, Kush, you can come in now.
Yes. That answered my question. Yeah, I'm sorry because I'm multitasking at the same time. Yes. That answered my question. Is very good, very good response. Because there's so many people doing it. Like even for buying Black stuff. Like is always this called We Buy Black. I got a friend. He has We Buy Black, and so many people are doing it. So we just gotta, exactly what we said, we gotta exchange numbers and keep the networking. So yes, so that was a good answer. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Awesome. Kush, floor is yours, my bro. First off, big ups to yourself. Good evening. How you doing?
Hey, big ups. Peace and blessings to you all that are in this chat. I will say thank you for the information that everybody is giving right now. I think it's a very good. I just got really itchy when I saw the topic first. I was like, man, I don't like the wording, but I won't say anything about the wording about the topic. But
no, please do, because the wording was half mine, half WIM's. So
okay,
not mine.
Okay, because when I saw it, I was like, man, bro, why not a question mark afterwards or something? That's to question.
All part of the YouTube game, Kush. Once you're in the YouTube game, you understand how these things work. All part of the YouTube game.
Yeah. I know it's to gather, to catch eyes, and I think it's a good eye catcher. It was a good eye catcher. It itched me anyways. But I want to say thank you for letting me be here with you guys to speak about this important thing. I think it's a very good start to try to evolve this new tradition that we want to have with Black Betterment, and I think it's good for us to have this room to speak about these things, because it's very important for us to have these rooms so that we can expand our thoughts, expand our will to actually do things. Like I've said to Brother Raven a couple of weeks ago, I'm more than willing to sit down and discuss, any form of grassroots organizing, because I think it's like you said, it is the right thing to do, and it's the only way to do things, is to go to the grassroots and to speak with people personally, so that people can understand you personally. Because when you get that bond personally, it's like we selling, we selling a concept, and if you want to sell a concept, that person needs to understand it emotionally as well. But we have to speak rational, but the person needs to take it in personally and emotionally, so that they can understand the power of, you know, unity, the power of collectivism, the power of us industrializing together, because that's what we need to do in this age. We need to create these small, not elites, but I would say power groups. Instead of saying elites, I would use power group as a word, because what we need to have is custodians. Like you said, we have to have Black custodians in our neighborhoods, in our communities, that are actually driving the work, and not only speaking about it, but actually driving the work. Even though it's few people doing it, yeah, it's better somebody's doing it than nobody else, you know. And if those few people are creating, you know, movements by themselves, then people will understand it and participate in it as well. And when people participate in it, they can't actually blame you, telling you, "Oh, you're going the wrong direction" or anything else, because you're actually doing the work. And I think what you guys are doing is incredible, and it's something that I have been waiting on for a long time, to have people of my own kind to build and to organize these things, because we need this, man. We need this for our future. And as I've told you guys before, you know, Africa as a merging economy would need us as custodians for the Black continent, for Africa. As Africa is growing, we know that also the population is growing, and as the population booms, we also know that 1 out of 3 will be an African on this earth. That's a lot of Africans.
It is a lot. What would you say to the first thing? Yeah, obviously with Brother WIM, he's going to use controversial to click through, and that's the name. In regards to the word elite, sometimes through my research, unfortunately, there's certain words I use because it gets a direct response, and through responding, it almost becomes it's almost like I'm rebranding how people think of certain things, but I'm also using the sharp edge of it to get people's attention. Although there is no harm there. But also with Brother Dr. Mr. Pilu, sorry, he was talking about
Mr. Pilu.
Mr. Pilu, you were talking about economics for a bit there, and I was just saying this is something that I was talking before about trying to identify Black business. So one thing I was pushing through is I've designed the concept Bob, which is Black-owned business. And you know, the answer is, how do we know when a business is Black-owned? So there needs to be a campaign done that first we can start. And one idea is every single Black business from Africa or America or England that is there trading, we make like little banners that we put their face, their family, and you know, whatever public record on there, and go shop here, shop there, or shop this brand, whatever it is. But also one thing that I'm introducing as well is I wanted to create a kind of icon to represent a Bob Black-owned business. So I started thinking, okay, well, maybe I can use the melanin as a go-to concept of a logo, because I'm an illustrator as well, whatever. So I came up with if it's even working, where is it? Hold on. Voila, there you go. Boom. So I did the Bob Black-owned business. So this one random design I put out there, like this is a concept, as in like in the future time.
I like it.
We will have
very good, man.
So we'll put this logo that says Bob. Now we can remove Black-owned business, but it could just be Bob. But if we put something like this on every single Black product, that was, we know that this is a Black-owned business, but it's Bob, right? The brand is Bob, and that way when we're shopping, just for it's a Bob product. Let me buy that. Do you know what I mean? Just tangible things, if that makes sense, right?
It's like patent. You mean like patent, like patenting, and I think that's a very, very strong thing.
So this is free. So what I'm doing now, this will be an uncopyrighted logo that the Black custodians and the Black bearers will push out. This is where it goes through, and it's just for any Black person who's starting the business that wants the Black people to know that this is a Black product. And it could just be Bob. We could remove the Black. It could just be Bob, depending on what it is, and then you know, blah 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 blah. So this is me trying to think of tangible ways of actually like making things happen. I think sometimes what we do, we sit around and we talk about the doom and gloom, but I'm saying there are tangible things we can do, and that's why knowing people's skill set and their motivation is important, because we can straight away move towards actually find solutions.
Perfect. because I have some businesses in mind actually, and I'm trying to form them as well. So whenever I form them and they are on, I will most definitely use that as a platform for me to reach out. Most definitely, man.
What would be even more powerful is if, once you get that logo, and this is why I'll say this, I kind of do think you should patent it and copyright it, just so that you own, or people of your ilk own the rights to rubber stamp it on a business. Because what it could allow is privileges, so that business gets more media attention, or also say it gets formed part of the network, and so other people know. Oh, okay, so someone in the chat said something which is good. Who vets if it's a Black-owned business? I'm assuming it's going to be whoever. That's why I'm saying copyrights it, or whoever owns the patents. Saying, okay, we go through X, Y, Z, and then rubber stamp it. B.O.B.
It's just like veganism. Like, there's a vegan there's a vegan icon which anyone can use, but you have to qualify. Don't kill animals, and for vegans, right?
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes when you want something to be universal, you can't own it, because it's like it's done because you're trying to set up a way of being, not trying to actually make money off it. I've got businesses that I own, or things I do where I charge people, blah blah blah. But there's also ideas that are for the community, and this idea is for the community. A Black-owned business. You see? That's it.
Yeah.
And right now, I will design an icon for Black. It's almost like, when you buy a hip hop record, there's or any record, I should say, there's parental discretion advised, right? Yeah. Anyone can use that, right? As long as your album has swear words in it, it qualifies for parental discretion advised. So there's an icon that we got used to. So okay, that album's got swear words. I'm not going to buy it for my kids. Just like this. Oh, that's from Black people. Okay, I'm going to buy that.
Hey,
no. But let me jump in. Real quick. Yeah, but I know what the parental guidance thing is. It was done by the government. The government put it as a rating, right? So somebody still owns it. So I think WYM is saying is that is correct. You do need some. I mean, because even the vegan thing, right? I mean, I know there's some type of certification that owns the vegan thing, has to be certified vegan, or even if it's certified kosher or whatever, right? So you still got to be. I mean, I don't know the proper legal processes. But I think you should look into the proper legal process of who has access to that label, because if anybody access the label, it could be Chinese owned, but they'll just put Black owned business, and you have no legal way to stop them from using it. So it's always good to double check legal things, especially when dealing with proprietary information. Thank you very much.
Good point there. Good point.
Yeah.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I was going to say echo Pelu's comments, because it's definitely something which we have been known to be to be hurt by, when it's a Black business all in name, and then you realize, oh, we don't actually own it, and there's like, well, it's for you. You know what I mean? So I do think it needs to have a lot more ownership, so we can, with rigor, make sure that it does form part of it. We can check it accurately, so we're not being duped.
Yeah, or fooled. Yeah, most definitely. I think that's very, very important. And also have those criterias for anyone that has that type of brand. They have to, have a certain criterias, like you said already. And that's why it's very important for you to have those patents. And like Mr. Pelu said about legal requirements, so that you have that framework. Anytime somebody's using that, they have to actually follow it, or else, they're gonna, be hit by some form of economic sanctions made by you.
Well, this is it. I was going to say, there could be incentives as well as sanctions based on this. It's like an incentivization for people to actually brand it. Because one of the things I've noticed, and when I've spoken to our people, is they don't want to brand themselves or pigeonhole themselves under that, which may take the market away from, majority of the market may not suit or might be just for Black people. So they might just want to say, oh, I don't want to do that because it might alienate other of our business or customers. You see what I mean? So if we can also, at some point, I know this is down the line, offer incentives to make it beneficial for that to take place, that also would be good. And then also sanctions.
Well, like I said, bros, like I said, I go through and I establish Black bearers and Black and pro bono. So if you guys are on that tip, then you guys are more than welcome to sit on the board, to sit in the big meetings where we're refining these things for the Black people international crowd. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's like-minded, because most of the people I come across generally are not really on this kind of wavelength. They're on some different kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So if you're on the same wavelength,
man. I'm all about grassroots working. Like I said, I had a lot of experience doing it, like 3 years or more, doing actual organization on the ground. So, and I don't know if you've seen the documentaries. I haven't maybe even sent it to you guys, but yeah, I'm gonna send it to you guys so that you can understand as well where I come from and what I stand for. You know, when it comes to solidarity and working with people, especially people of color.
yeah. Well, like I said, with network on Discord, this might be a good, because it's only Sister Tasha introduced with Discord, and it might be a better app to network when it comes to international crowds and stuff. I don't know, but yeah.
And also, like you also said, you also speaking about technology, and I think you also have to have a section for that as well, like a separate thing. You only talk about technology, because we know now that if Africa taps into technology and computerism, etc., we will scale a lot, because we have the main resources there. So if we get into the tech businesses and use the tech that we have, or smart tech or whatever, we can actually evolve our economies to be even greener than those of Asia and all these other guys, using a lot of carbon emissions, etc. We can actually scale down on everything as we actually have the raw resources to provide us with electricity or whatever. So that's one thing I was just thinking about. If you want to, or if you can, please have a section only for technology, where you speak about technology only as a solution.
That's something that I'm gonna start, because definitely I've got it in my networks, but it's the smallest of my networks, because I haven't met too many people who I've met many brothers and sisters who are in technology, but they might not necessarily want to do things with Black people. So this
yeah. I'm with you, bro. Just send me a DM or whatever. I'm more than man. I would love to just work with people that are like-minded, bro.
Yeah. As for me, as for me, I personally know a lot of people like that. I told you, I got this guy. He has a website called We Buy Black. So he does all this stuff, and he probably would love to work with these type of stuff. So yeah, if you get on Discord, I'm on Discord. WYM knows me on Discord. So yeah, get on Discord. We can start networking this a lot. I can start pushing this for you. A lot of like-minded people. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
You see, this is why
I definitely link you up as well on Discord. Go ahead, Cashapp.
No, that's why we need these discussions. They are very important, bro. Because when we have these discussions, we can connect and redirect our frustration towards something more productive, and that's what we're doing right now. And I'm more than, I want to build industries, Black industries. That's all I'm about, bro. I'm done with shit chatting. I want to go to work.
Yeah, and so the marketing we're going to do is we're going to be what we're doing now. We're going to market this also to Black people as something that is trendy, something that is important, something that should be in the front of the mind, and this should be the goal. So historically it was sharing, caring, holding hands of other people, which is nice, but now it's ownership. Now it's looking after yourself. Now it's empowerment. Do you know what I mean? In a constructive way.
Exactly. Look at for our community, bro, because we are the main consumers. We have a huge consumption power. We're not using it. We're not using it correctly. That's the thing. We need to canalize our emotions towards something more productive for our people. And I think what you guys are doing right now is actually what I was thinking about so many times. And I think just magnetism drew us here, man, for real.
Well, I think one thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to start doing reach out campaigns where we're actually asking for certain skills in the community. So we're asking for whatever skill we might need, whether it's programmers, 3D modelers, animators, whatever it might be, and actually look to get them, and then we'll have to do like a introduction of what we're trying to do, and then see who wants to stay on board.
Yeah, I'm an earth scientist. So that's my section, brother. I'm an earth scientist. I'm a martial artist as well. So I teach people boxing and stuff like that. I've done boxing for a long time. So that's my background. and I'm pro-African, pro-Black, and I've had multiple chances of doing a lot of sales. I've been a very good salesperson, selling electricity and stuff like that. So I have a lot of background in sales and in organizing, grassroots organizing. So I think, this is perfect, man.
No, and it's something I love to see. So definitely this channel is all about versus people, you know, what we can do to improve, obviously where we go wrong, all kinds of things, very different types of conversation that we have here. So for sure, I'm pretty sure each and every one of you will find something that of use, which you can use for sure. So appreciate each and every one of you. It's coming up to that 3 hour mark. So I kind of want to shut things down a little bit. It's a bit late. But I just want to say thank you to everyone on the panel. Thank you for everyone's come up beforehand. People in chat, I've seen some new. Please make sure you like the stream, share it, subscribe if you are new. I'm also going to put Raven's channel in the chat again, so please make sure that you check out this powerful brother out. You know, he has some really, really good tenets, and it's things that I think, you know, we all should aspire to want to be, so, or want to fulfill. So for sure, please make sure that you subscribe to his channel. I think, Raven, you normally go live every Fridays. Is that normally?
Friday, Fridays 10 p.m. Every Friday 10 p.m. So log in every Friday 10 p.m. And let's help Black people, innit? Let's be constructive.
That's it, and that's the main thing, into. I mean, we say about the titles are one thing, but constructive, that's the key. So
and productive as well. We need to produce things. So that's it. We need to produce. That's what we need. Black people need to produce, and create ownership. That's what we need, bro. This is the key. This is the key. This is the future.
No, it is. The future's bright. The future is African. So let's do it like that, shall we? So, but before I leave, I don't want to say anything just before we sort of wrap this show up at all.
No, not much more. I don't think I have so much more than I want to, you know, continue the discussion and Discord and exchange ideas, because I have so much ideas and I can't, you know, just spill the beans here. I want to, you know, create a great power group together. I want to have that group so that we can form this together, because I know there's a lot of people that just takes, because that's the thing I was thinking whenever you had those things up there, Raven. You know, I would never personally do that, because there will be people that just, even though you're doing it out of niceness, there is some people, you know, that can take things from your, you know, ideas and do it themselves, you know. So
I'll be honest with you, once again, this is going to sound very odd, because of because of the type of work I do and how independent I am and stuff. At a certain point, I don't mind people stealing all my ideas, as long as when they steal it, they execute it. If people steal my ideas and it helps Black people, steal away. That's why all the things I do are like a wiki-based kind of stuff, where it's more about a lifestyle and a way people behave rather than the actual brand. Because technically, I can make brands, I make apps, I make this kind of stuff, so I know how to make things in it. But I think what's more effective is ideas, and creating ideas to allow people to communicate more efficiently and do things that produce stuff. If people want to steal that 1,000 times from me, as long as Black people are progressing, steal everything. It won't bother me, not in the slightest.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know that, you know, personally, I wouldn't do that myself. But keep on, brother. I'm not gonna stop you from doing what you're doing, brother. Hopefully we can have this discussion afterwards.
Listen, every word I say here, use every word, every syllable, every quote. Take it. As long as you're using to help Black people, it's for Black people. I've got my own brands. I own brands because I'm a designer. I can design what I want. But there's certain things that's for the community to benefit. So as long as you're using the things I say, like I said, these are philosophies and ideas for Black people to progress. So I can't own certain things. I can't own them because, you know what I mean? It's like you can't own certain words or certain things because it's made for a purpose. Once you copyright certain things, it's no longer a purpose. That's how my philosophy works, isn't it?
True. All right, man.
All right, brothers. All right, well, look, I'm going to go, but I want to say thank you for WIM for having me on. Thank you for the brothers here to being constructive and giving good ideas.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And a special thanks to Thank you, brother. Special thanks to Tash. She's very constructive behind the scenes. in networking brothers and sisters together. And you know, as I said, like they're doing the work, and we give you props. You know what I mean?
Blessed.
Thank you, family.
Absolutely, but I'm going to shut the stream down anyway. But no, again, big up, thank you again, Raven, for taking time out of your busy schedule to share that very, very, very powerful blueprints and codes, which you're happy for people to tech. So no, that's fine. So, but no, thanks everyone for joining the live stream. If you are listening on the playback as well, please make sure again, like, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out here. But right now, we're going to shut down the stream. So thanks for coming. And until the next time, we're out of here.
Peace, man.
Peace.